Oh, hello, friends. Hello. Welcome to Roll Together. Welcome to another episode of Seekers of Elturel Buried. This is episode 8, I think. Yes, that sounds about right. I'm George. I use he, him pronouns, and I will be your DM for the next 3 hours or so for this lovely session of D&D. So yes, what is that? What are we doing? We are playing Dungeons and Dragons. For any of you who don't know what that is, I mean, first of all, go back and watch the previous episodes because you might need some of them to make sense of what's going on. Or just stay and enjoy it. We'll try and fill you in as we go along. But Dungeons and Dragons, if you are lost, is a fantasy tabletop role-playing game. Each of these people around me is playing a character in a shared fantasy universe, a character of their own design, who they have got away, built, concepted, sort of come up with, and as we've told the story so far, they have changed, and I'm sure things have happened that have surprised them in terms of what their character is. Yes, we all come together here around the virtual metaphorical table to tell a shared story. I, on the other hand, am the Dungeon Master, which is an ominous title, but it just means I run the game. I play the non-player characters. I describe events, situations, locations, sort of stuff to challenge and tax and make feel emotions to the players and characters. And I describe what happens. They decide what they're going to do, and then sometimes we roll dice to figure out what the heck that means. When rolling dice, we usually roll a d20. I have a big chunky one here. 20-sided dice. If we say D, whatever, D20, D6, whatever, that just refers to the number of sides of the dice, but the most common is the D20. We roll one of those. They usually add or occasionally subtract a number from their character sheet, which is kind of a statistical representation of what they are good or bad at. So it might say they are good at talking to people, or they might be bad at climbing things, for example. And it also describes some specific abilities like spells and chunky things like tracking and all these wonderful weirdnesses that characters in this world are capable of, because it's a cool fantasy universe. It's a fantasy universe anyway. Yes, low numbers good, high numbers bad. No, the other way around. No, if you're that explains why my dice are going the way they are. High numbers good, low numbers bad. Got it. High numbers generally good, low numbers generally bad, and so feel free to cheer or boo accordingly as we go. Yes, I think it's a good time for the players to introduce themselves and their characters. So I'm going to go round, and round from my perspective, it might not make any sense to you or for anyone else. But if you could introduce yourself, give your pronouns if you wish, introduce your character, give what they are, their sort of their species and class, and anything else pertinent on that level, and then feel free to share what they're up to, how they're going, like anything from their arc to date that you feel is pertinent for the audience. Starting with Natalie, please.
Hello, I'm Natalie. I use she/her pronouns. I play Valka Heartsong, who also uses she/her pronouns. She is a barbarian human, path of the ancestral guardians. I remember what I'm playing. She's a lady in her later life who spent much of her time working on a farm. Has now turned to adventuring. Now her kids have grown up, and this is the biggest adventure that she's been on. And she's also got a side hobby of botany, and she's quite enjoying being in a new place with very strange plants.
Awesome. Thank you, Natalie. Rebecca.
Oh, I am Rebecca. I use she/her pronouns. I am playing Veracity Tallow, who also uses she/her pronouns. She is a gnome druid of the wildfire variety, which means, fairly expectedly, she sets fire to a lot of things and doesn't necessarily always think about the consequences of her actions. She is off on this adventure. It's her first ever proper adventure, and she's hoping that in doing so she can get into the good graces of all the fancy academics and maybe make up for setting fire to a lot of very rare and precious books.
It was an accident.
Well, everything she does is an accident.
Still painful. Yeah. Niall.
Hello, I'm Niall. I use he/him pronouns. I play Barder Tanner, who is a Ranger Horizon Walker, specializing in closing portals to other dimensions and planes of existence. Much like this one. Unfortunately, she's had to go into this one, similarly to what made her a famous folk hero in her town. She was trapped in another plane of existence for approximately 3 months. So this is not new to her, but is a little bit different as well.
Marvelous. G.
Hi, I'm G. I use he/him pronouns, and I'm playing 355, who uses they/them pronouns. 355 is a warforged genie warlock, and was built by one of the keepers in Elturel, and has been preparing to come to this particular demi-plane for quite a long time, and has been reading up all of Torsten's writings, and Torsten Brittlehurst?
Torsten Brittlehurst, correct, yes.
Got it. Yeah, so they have been reading all of his stuff and sort of preparing to come here for a while. So now that they're actually here, it's quite an intense kind of experience, I think.
No pressure.
Nope.
None at all. And last but not least, it is Ed, please.
Hello, I'm Ed. I use he, him pronouns, as does my character, Viodica Iordash, who is a bard, who is actually just coming to terms with the fact that he can actually help other people out with his bardic inspiration. He's never been one to sort of give it away freely, and all of a sudden it's coming to the fore, and I've just got to remember that I have it, is the crucial thing.
Fantastic. The stream will run for around about 3 hours. We'll have a break roughly in the middle, probably 5-10 minutes. We don't know exactly when that's going to fall because this is all essentially improvised. So just look for it in the middle if we need to break away at any point. First, if we get to the D and the D, we have to talk about our sponsors and supporters. First up is Hero Forge. I have to tactically dive across my desk to reach for one of these wonderful custom miniatures made by Hero Forge. On heroforge.com, this is Valka. You can build incredibly intricate miniatures of your characters, your NPCs, or just things from other things. Like if you work out to write things or anything else, you can just make characters that you like. There's also really cool tools to design and build miniatures. They support a wide variety of styles and game systems. So obviously you have a very fantasy bent here in this particular D&D game, but there's many other options, including modern world, science fiction, clockworky, steampunk type things. You can build cool robots. I mean, we have a cool robot, even though in fantasy that's really cool. There's just tons of options. They are constantly adding more, so you can always find new and surprising and exciting things to make you go, ooh. We've done videos with each of the players here where they've made their characters on this campaign. So the miniatures you'll be seeing on the stream, perhaps. If we have reason to break out the initiative, like if you want to see them being made and see that design process with the Hero Forge tool, you can head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/rolltogetherrpg, see what the process of building them looks like. And if you like what you see, head over to heroforge.com and design your own. They are really quite fantastic. Next up, there is Ultra Pro. Ultra Pro are a different side of the physical tabletop accessory sort of scene. For D&D, they make dice. I'm using my lovely antique metal dice. Big, clunky, chunky. They will learn to love me in time. They also make character sheet wallets, card sleeves. You can use things like condition cards or spell cards. There's lots of other things for different game types, game systems. If you play tabletop games, board games, other things you can get. Sleeves to protect your cards, organization systems for all the various bits and pieces to make your tabletop gaming experience a bit smoother and more tidy. They also make these figurines of adorable power. This is Grumpus. This is my Gazer. They make there's GIF, the sort of colonialist hippos, I guess you could call them, imperialist hippos. There's what else? Owlbears, all sorts of cool things. I love these delightful and just adorably dirty things. We should be giving something away in chat. I do not know what it is going to be, but if you keep an eye on what the moderator is saying, you'll be able to find out. And participate in chat for a chance to win Maker Base in the UK. So do keep an eye on that. And if you want to see any of the Ultra Pro stuff yourself, head over to ultrapro.com or find your local friendly gaming store or somewhere that they're available in a lot of cool places. We are very pleased to be supported by D&D Beyond. On the left-hand side of the screen, if you're watching on Twitch, you should see an overlay where you can click directly in to see character sheets for each of these 5 characters. So if they use an ability that you like, how does that work? If you want to learn more, you can click on them and find out. If you want to see a little bit of what makes them tick, like things that they can do that we might not get to in this episode, have a look. It's a really good way of exploring the mechanical side of the characters if that is something you are interested in. We are also supported by Level Up Dice. I have these appropriately named table shakers in front of me. Massive D percentiles, which I will not roll on stream because it will shake everything off here, but they're really fun to use, and I do use them at home here sometimes. Also, there's lovely chunky D20, so do check out Level Up Dice for those. Also supported by Warriors of Waterdeep, which is an official tactical team-based dungeon adventure mobile game for Dungeons & Dragons. You can see a code, I believe it's at the bottom of the screen. You can put !! Warriors of Waterdeep to get a link to download Warriors of Waterdeep. Or you can type ! WoW gems, WW gems, to get a link to receive free gems. You can use this in chat. We are also supported by Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. If you want this week's chest code, it should be emblazoned on the bottom of the screen right now, or you can type ! Code for this week's code. Yes, Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms is, of course, a licensed D&D strategy management video game, and thank you once again for your support. We are on social media. We're on social media pretty much everywhere, conveniently enough under the same name, which is Roll Together RPG. So do find us on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you like to hang out. Just join us, follow us, keep track of what we do. It's time. We also have a Patreon, relatively new. We started a Patreon last year, so you can find it on patreon.com/rolltogetherrpg. You can join our glowing D20, glowing and growing. Yes, and thank you to our lovely luminescent D20 Club participants for your support as well. But do check out the Patreon, help us with the show, help us build towards some of the other reward tiers we have planned, such as the Community Discord and lots of other fun stuff. So do please go over there and consider supporting us. This show and the other shows that we make are also available as podcasts. So you can use your podcast app of choice. You can just search for Roll Together RPG and you should find our podcast feed, so you can subscribe for this show and our other shows if you want to catch up. If you haven't watched the show before, good way of catching up. Or you just might want to enjoy things in audio form. Or you might be listening to a podcast right now, in which case, hi, this one's just for you. And finally, we play with a diverse group of players who play a diverse set of characters with wide-ranging sexual and gender identities. Our tables are trans-positive, and we encourage and champion trans players and characters in our games. The DM and players may portray characters that are of a different gender to their own. We do aim to avoid misgendering, but acknowledge that it does sometimes happen, and we have a company policy in place for correcting people on pronouns and misgendering where it occurs. If we miss such an instance of misgendering, we are open to being corrected, so please do just let us know either in chat or through one of the channels I mentioned earlier, and we will look to correct that in future. Thank you. And with that, we are finally ready to see another week of mysteries and adventures in this week's Seekers of Elturel Buried. Previously on Seekers of Elturel Buried, the party has crossed between dimensions. They're in the Hedgemaze, a legendary demiplane severed from the Feywilds, where they seek a powerful artifact known as the Constant. They were hired by one Keeper Cade, academic and curator of the eclectic Winterglass collection at the Elturel Athenaeum and Academy Arcane, known more sensibly as the Athenaeum. With them is, as mentioned, Torsten Brittlehusk, a dwarven academic and expert on demiplanes. They have 5, or is it 7 days to get the Constant and anything else interesting they might find here and get back to the crystal key that currently marks their entry point to the Hedgemaze and their exit point. Last session they went a-walking, trying to reach the distant black structure that may be the temple where the Constant is kept. They wandered, fell into the local trees and grass, into what the local trees and grass called the Web of the Lost, a kind of underground chamber of many numerous red webs and arachnoid horrors. They reached what appeared to be a terminus, a place where the woods and webs pressed together so thickly that they were basically walls. But there was an ominous hole in the ground with long dead webbed corpses on it, and they decided to plant a tree. So they backtracked, found a place a little bit out of this area, and it's there in Vionica's tiny hut that we begin today. The tiny hut, for those who are not watching previously or do not know, is a hemispherical dome of force conjured by Vionica through some artful, I haven't even seen it, sound work, which protects the party and is suspended, like I guess sort of resting on a branch of a tree where it probably wouldn't balance were it not a magical force construct. You were in the process of trying to take a rest. You have not yet completed the rest. Anything you want to? Oh, how do you do disposition here at this point? How are you sort of arranged in this thing? You just had this dome of safety, apparently conjured forth. You were attempting to sort of process, catch up a little bit. What is everyone doing? How is everyone sitting? How is everyone taking this so far in your first moment of quiet?
I mean, out of character, Nat is concerned that you are saying you're trying to take a long rest. How are you feeling before you take this long rest?
Are we going for a long or a short? I cannot remember.
Yeah, it may be a short rest, actually, but I feel free to correct me on that.
Long was certainly the intention, I thought.
Okay, oh yeah, we walked for long enough that it was time for a long rest. Cool.
Yeah.
Spell slots. Veracity is stressed. Veracity had thought of so much of not letting everyone down and her personal behaviour that she actually hadn't spent much time thinking about it might just be really difficult to do, and they've spent a whole day walking and she has very little legs and they've got lost and there are spider people and so many dead bodies. So Veracity has found herself a little corner of the round hut and is just sitting with her knees up to her chest, peeling wax off her hand, and then it goes back onto her skin, and then off her hand, and then back into her skin. But her version of picking her nails, basically.
Right, of course.
I think Valka is trying to remain cheery, like trying to keep her usual disposition, but has probably, much to people's unhappiness, taken her boots off and been massaging her feet.
Ew.
I would say that Viorica, if he's not already asleep, is very, very close to, and whilst he can produce many, many beautiful sounds with his voice, when he sleeps, he sort of it's not snoring as you usually know, but it's a sort of trill, like that sort of.
Oh no.
So he's there.
Barda, what about you?
Barda's pretty chill, actually. Like quite enjoying the new scenery. Probably takes note of Veracity's worry, and would probably try and strike up like a little bit of conversation whilst laid on a tree. I imagine she's laid on a tree branch, looking down at Veracity like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yes, you could have branches in this. Yeah, if you
That's
sort of
amazing.
click through a little bit, you could have multiple levels just by putting it in a tree, I suppose. Yeah.
Very Jungle Book vibes. I like it.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that everyone else is like, this is fine, but Barda's like, this is fine.
Yeah. Really not a problem.
I agree with you. This is fine.
355. I've got a couple of things. One, I'm trying to think of some reason that they wouldn't have done this before, but actually it's just that I forgot that I could do it. Because part of the whole reason for the long rest was I couldn't fly above the tree line. So just before taking a long rest, I'm going to use my last spell slot to cast Gaseous Form.
Is that a good thing?
Which allows you to fly up above the tree line and have a look around.
Cool. Yeah, the tiny huts. Anyone who's in it can pass freely through it, except the caster. You cannot leave without dispatching, but you can do that freely. You can whiz upwards. So you're trying to You're trying to get a sense of.
I wanted to, because we didn't know where the tower was in relation to us now. So I want to see that and anything else I can see, I guess.
Cool. You fly up. You pass through the tree again. The woods here again for people who either forgotten or don't remember from last time. This is a demi-plane. It's a parallel dimension. Things are weird. Like you've got recognizable trees. You've got recognizable plants. There are analogs of things in the material plane. There's a kind of a sense of almost like, you know how the sort of flora and fauna in the deep undersea gets really like stressfully weird, like that kind of thing. It has a feel of that to it, whereas it's sort of uncanniness, like you can recognize that it's there, but it feels very out of place in this what is essentially a forest. You ascend. Make a perception roll, please, for me.
Oh, that's only a 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you can. There's some stuff you can't miss at all. You can definitely still see the structure. This sort of black stone, slightly bulbous, organic-y kind of structure with a big spire that meant you could see it from even when you entered the Hedgemaze. Again, as before, this is the only recognizable feature amid a whole sort of gently curving bowl of deep forest/jungle. To the extent that you passed through a field, you came in the clearing, you definitely recognize multiple places that should be conspicuous landmarks, and you're looking for them, but you can't spot them. This appears to be very much like there is where you are, and there is that place over there. It's quite distant. It's not quite on the trajectory you thought that it would be on, based on the direction you're moving. As before, it seems to sort of move around, or you expect it does, or the seeming of it does. But it is there, and it's not that far away. You make it probably a few hours walk from where you are currently.
Okay.
That can be relied upon, which is a very sketchy assumption.
All right. Cool, and that's sort of what I expected to see, I think.
Cool.
I expected it to not be where I expect and to not see anything else. I think, yeah. Yes, I will return to the little dwelling, drop my gaseous form, and
Rude.
Yeah.
I mean, at least do it outside the tiny hut.
It's a small space.
And I guess like I'd sort of tell people that, or like that's
Okay.
sort of the same as before, basically. And I would go into my vessel. So it would just be somewhere, I guess, on the floor. I don't know. Is there furniture in this little hut thing?
I don't think there has to be. If you see what I mean.
It's the name is misleading, and it is a dome or hemisphere of force. It isn't.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. Old edition, you used to get a literal hut.
It's disappointing.
If this is more robust, but less folksy and charming, I think. Yeah. Oh, technical question. Viorica, how high in the tree did you choose to put it? I know you climbed up to get off the ground level. How high would you have gone? Was it just to get away from the ground, or was it to sort of?
Well, it was. That's a good question. It's what I was trying to do. It wasn't with an idea of. I suppose it was with an idea of safety, but also, so it would have been like above 6 feet.
Sure. Okay, but the goal was to be off the ground rather than specifically to be very high up.
Yeah.
Fine, that makes sense. Secondly, you can make it opaque or transparent from the outside. You can see from the inside. You can see out, no problem. But how would you audience?
Transparent, definitely.
Okay. And what color is it? Crucial question.
Given that it's transparent.
As in transparent, as in can be seen through, as opposed to like sort of reflective surface. But it does have a. It's not like clear plexiglass transparent, but it still has a substance that you can see.
Well, but I wanted to be. I don't suppose you know what camouflage was, but like sort of akin to the rest of the around.
You could probably describe. There were some green pustules on the trees last time. You could probably make it a similar color and credibly disguise it as one of those, which is a bit
massive pustule on a tree. That's what I'll disguise it as. That's fine.
Do you not get to have a glorious Viorica interior design moment where he's copied some kind of wallpaper and put it all the way around the outside? That's all like
William Morris mid-century.
No.
No, he doesn't. No, the thing is, he's not actually that much into the interior design. That's the thing. It's much more about the costume than he is about the back.
The exterior design.
Thank you. So 355. What is your vest? For those who don't know, what does it look like?
So my vessel is like it's like a little ball bearing kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe like 3/4 of an inch across, and inside, canonically, well, according to rules as writ, I suppose, like there's some cushions and some bits of furniture and stuff around, and I could just kind of hang out there. Also, when in my vessel, my docent, Doc, has a sort of like physical presence, or not quite physical, but like a visual presence, like a bit like
they manifest. Yeah.
that sounds cozier than the tiny hut. We have as well.
I'm not allowed to take. I need to be, I think, level like 12 before.
Yeah, you do get it eventually. It's a cool ability.
Not only that, but Viorica
must be genie first.
Should have brought some throw cushions. So.
Okay, understood.
We can discuss later the prospect of Liam's tiny throw cushion.
Also in the vessel, I had left, I think 2 episodes ago, the book that we found that had more information about the Hedgemaze and stuff.
It's almost a diary journal / scrapbook put together by, it seems, as described previously on this show, professional arsehole Bartosz Penterton, who is a rich sort of art collector / historical interest, but from profit point of view, person from Baldur's Gate. Yes, so in fact, Doc has. This is a good reason to do it now. I guess is Doc has been looking through this. I kind of imagine. I mean, we established that Doc sounds like Danny Dyer a bit. So Doc probably looks as close to Danny Dyer as we can without getting sued. All right.
Doc, how have you been getting on researching the texts?
Oh, it's a mess. I mean, it's just a collection of, there's bits. Like, I think this is torn from an old book, like a proper ancient manuscript. Someone's just torn a bloody page out and put it in here. That's not on in my book. This bit was used. Then there's this stuff. It's all nonsense, and this bit. Basically, this is someone's pet project that they're not very smart. They're not very together. But I think there's some good stuff in here. Maybe.
have you been able to find anything that might tell us where in the Hedgemaze the Constant is located?
Not as such. I mean, it's a bit. I rolled a 1 on his check. that was my expression. I'm like, yeah, no, there's definitely some useful stuff. It's he takes you over to one side. I think he's got like one of those boards where he's pulled scraps out and has drawn like things between things, and you can just looking at 355, just at a glance, you can see that it's nonsense. Like the connections are all completely spurious. There's some stuff here that's clearly just made up. So I
would like to. Yes, since you rolled 1, I would like to investigate all of this mess and see if I can pull any useful information.
Go for it. I will give you advantage because Doc has been, for all that he rolled a 1, he has been working on this for a few days, such that it's effective. I'm effectively allowed as a help action.
He smoking
21.
Charlie in
just having not doing his work properly. What was your roll?
21.
21. All right, that's good. You squint up. Like there's some of the stuff he's pulled out is quite useful in the sense of it shows you exactly what not to look at in the book. Like he's focused on all the stuff that you immediately go, this is like wild hypothesis. This is not useful, not credible. So taking that from the book, you can basically just disregard the sections that those came from and start flicking through. You find a couple of things of interest with the 21. One of them is a quote. I consider all of these quotes to be fair. Seekers know the realm's chatelaine. I should probably do it in Pentiston's voice, shouldn't I? Because this is actually directly. No. This is a quote. This is a quoted text, so he's not. This is not something that Pentiston has written.
Yeah, but it's in his handwriting.
It's in his handwriting. Yeah, that's fair.
Please.
Seekers know the realm's chatelaine as the Watcher. It lends its name to the temple that keeps the constant. I can do that in a better voice if you couldn't hear that clearly.
That was awesome.
That's one quote. Another thing, you flicking through a different section, you find it is harder than you would expect to get lost in the Hedgemaze. You will end up precisely where you do not wish to be.
Say that one again. It's hard.
It is harder than you expect to get lost in the Hedgemaze. You will end up precisely where you wish not to be, or where you do not wish to be. This is Pentiston's writing with like sections from the manuscript circled.
Fascinating.
Did you keep flipping?
Yeah.
Cool. One more section of catches your eye at this point, which is gaining the temple requires a performance of a certain rite on which the scholars are tragically silent.
Oh, good.
That sucked.
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry, can you tell me the first one again?
Yes. Seekers know the realm's chatelaine as the Watcher. It lends its name to the temple that guards the constant.
Okay.
How are you spelling chatelaine?
Chatelain.
Like chatelaine.
Like chatelaine, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Sorry.
So the Watcher guards the temple. Was that?
Right. Watcher. No, it lends its name to the temple.
Lends its name to the temple.
But yeah, it describes the realm's chatelaine as the Watcher. Now you see, like, look. I mean, we don't pay any attention to that. Look, it's all up here on the board. This is the good stuff right here. You see, there's this thing about the three-headed horse. But in theory, if you follow that, you'll get to this river where there's. No, wait, that's not right.
Doc, perhaps it would be best if you took a break.
No. I got. He does the gift. You all. Just no. I'm close to cracking this.
There was something else. There was something else I was hoping to discuss with you. You are sentient, are you not? You think and feel.
Well, I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but yeah.
And you are, I believe, you are older than I am. Do you have memories before we were together?
Nah, not so. I mean, there's like, it's more like, I'm like how to put it? Well, I'm not an independent creature like you. Like, I have my own autonomy. I am sentient. I am sapient. All of the above. But I'm not like free to go out in the world and do things and make my own memory. A part of me is a reflection of you, is a reflection of me, and so on.
I see.
So, I mean, there's vague shapes, but mostly like my personality and Eden being, the whole thing got remolded when I was installed into you. So, yeah.
I understand.
What you see is what you get.
I was wondering, do you know why Keeper Nilo and Keeper Cade dislike each other so?
Well, I've always assumed it's like an academic feud type of thing. You know, these academics, they get tenure, they're in there for that length of time, and the small victories are the things that they go for. They try and one up one another. They think each other as a fool. I've heard many things that Keeper Nilo has said. Yeah, she doesn't like Keeper K. Keeper K doesn't like her. I think it's more professional than anything else.
My worry is that Keeper Nilo may have asked me to do something that I'm starting to doubt whether or not it is indeed necessary.
Oh, you mean the thing? Operational priority number 3.
Do you believe if Keeper Cade was to receive the constant before Keeper Nilo, that he would indeed hide it away and stop anyone else from accessing it?
Well, I mean, Cade, they very much collect everything. They are, that's their whole thing. Is they find these artifacts, they study them. I assume, I don't know if they actually. I've never seen them study them, but they publish from time to time, don't they? I guess. But yeah, mostly they keep that stuff in that. You saw the warehouse, you saw the deep archives. You know how it is. So possibly. But who knows? This might be different. As far as Kate puts it, this is the most important historical discovery of the millennia. So it's probable that they might, share. Maybe.
Thank you, Doc. I appreciate your.
Look, officially, I'm supposed to, keep you on mission. But no, I hear you. You do you. I mean, probably. Whatever that is. Good luck.
I will try.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's. I will have my long rest after that.
Grand. Is everyone else sort of bedding down for a sleep? You can set watches. You don't. In theory, you don't have to because, the theory behind the hut is that it's basically impenetrable unless anyone can dispel it.
I think if it looks like other people are bedding down beforehand, Valka would probably approach Barda. But if other people had other conversations they wanted to do first, then that is fine. Because she would purposely wait until it looked like the others were asleep.
Barda's probably taking first watch anyway.
Yeah.
Veracity curls up and goes to sleep.
Oh.
She might conjure Sparky to keep company while she falls asleep because she is that cute!
She also curled up at the end of Viorica's feet again.
Yeah, probably, if Viorica doesn't mind. Little ball wrapped by a little fire Veracity.
Keep my toes
So cute.
I think 255 wouldn't stay in the vessel, actually, for the long rest. Would come out of the vessel and, I guess, talk to anyone about watches or who's taking watch. I don't know how it works with Warforged or how you want to work it, because technically I don't sleep.
You stay aware of your surroundings, so you can. If everyone were happy just to let you watch, then you could. I
offer to do that. Well, yeah. So if Barda's going to go to watch, Barda, I do not require sleep, so I can easily keep watch throughout the night. Everyone else can have a good rest.
Sounds good. I mean, I'll stay up with you for a few hours. I don't really sleep anyway. So, yeah. Nighttime.
I would like that.
Not a good time. Okay, well, cool, man.
I think Valka was, like I said, she was probably hoping to catch Barda on her own, but we kind of ambles up to the two of them and... Well... Barda, did you saw how was Titus and Max? We've not had a chance to talk since we got a chance to see everyone, and I was wondering how they were doing.
Yeah. They were good. They were very good. Yeah. They seem to have fun with your family.
Good. That's good to hear.
How was your son and granddaughter?
Oh, well, Ilvia had a lovely time having an explore and a look around. They've never been. Well, I keep saying grand, but that is what it is to us, the Athenaeum, and Henrik seemed a bit confused, but Ilvia was having a lovely time. We met, what was her name? Nalka, who Veracity kept talking about. She was absolutely lovely. Yeah, it was. Henrik was surprised that they had been called to come and see us, and I'll be honest, I hadn't really thought about it. For me, it seemed like a nice gesture for Keeper Cade to come and bring our families to. I thought it was just to have a little look around, just so we can have a see them. But you got very assertive with Cade about compensation, should we not return, and it got me thinking that perhaps the reason our families were brought was just in case that happened.
I think it was genuinely a nice gesture, but the reality stands. I'm sorry that nobody had talked to you about this beforehand. The kind of work, I do, this is always a little bit of a risk. Not many people ask you to go into a demiplane, but that's because they believe that you're strong. And I believe in you too. I think this entire team that we're with has something that I've not seen in a lot of people throughout my life. So in regards to worry, I'm confident in your abilities to get us home.
That's very kind of you to say, but I was more concerned about, and I know this is something that both you and Titus excel at, but I was just wondering how you got to a place where you were both okay with it.
Titus isn't.
Right, okay, well...
In all fairness, I know that we seem like everything's hunky-dory, but, I was gone for a long time. A really, really, really long time. And Titus is not okay with this kind of thing. And I'm not... I don't know what you think of me, but I'm used to a lot of people around me telling me how great I am and how I've done a great job. And oh look, it's Barda. She's the one that stopped the incursion or whatever. But I'm not the greatest. And sometimes I look at you and I think, God, she seems to really have it together. And you coming here to talk to me is very disarming because I don't have all the answers, unfortunately. I'm just trying to do the best I can with what I've got. And what I've got is a real talent for killing.
I think Valka takes Barda's hand and holds it. That you have. I'm just a little concerned that... you have. They are true. They're correct. You have done some wonderful things. I haven't. No, but you have in a way. I heard about you well before I met you. And I appreciate that there's probably some darker things that have come alongside the wonderful things that you've done. I'm not here to tell you how wonderful you are. because you've got enough people telling you that, and it's a fact. It doesn't need restating. My family has grown up. It would be very sad for them if I didn't come back. I would be incredibly sad not to see any of them again. But they can survive without me. And far be it for someone like me to tell you what to do. Because you are a grown woman, you know your own mind, you know your own abilities. And I would never tell you to do something just for your husband's sake. You need to do it for your own. But when Odrin passed away, I was beside myself. He was the love of my life, and sometimes it's not about what we can do or what we do or don't do. It's Titus and Max are good people, and I just worry if those left behind have a rough time of it, is all I'm saying. And it's incredibly important to me that we all make it back. I suppose, in a roundabout way, is what I'm trying to say. And as much as it's good to have someone who is as skilled and confident as you are, I just don't want that confidence to overstretch us.
I appreciate that. I get carried away. I try to drown out the bad as much as I can, and thank you. But believe me when I say this, that I genuinely need you guys. I couldn't do this by myself. I mean, look at Veracity. She's tracking through this maze faster than I could even think.
She's incredible.
She is. But we don't know anything about this place, and that's terrifying. And I'll be honest, I'm not terrified, I'm excited. And I can't help that. And, you know, seeing you guys is what brings me down to earth. Because I know I gotta help you guys get back. You know, that's the one thing I will promise.
All of us.
Yeah, all of us. We're all getting back.
We are.
There is an almighty creak.
Oh, good.
It's great. No, this is good. It's a wonderful scene. There is a sound like a sort of shriek whine, like a big bit of wood or metal bending. And the tree, I mean, you're in the hut, but the tree that the hut was balanced on shudders, dips to one side and starts to sink into the ground. The hut stays floating. The hut is fixed in space. The earth starts to open underneath it, and the tree just, as the ground parts, again revealing these webs stretching out over it, the tree sinks, leaving a crevasse underneath you, the sort of 10 or feet so below it is to the ground. You've all finished a short rest, definitely, so you can do that if there's anything you want to hit the button, you want to add anything to that. Yeah. You're still in the hut. The hut is solid where it is, even though what it was resting on is gone. It doesn't matter. Once it's created, it's there for the duration, or until it ends. Below you in the widening earth, you can see a chamber similar to the one you saw before, possibly exactly the same chamber. This little room of webs and dark shadows and horrible things and tunnels leading off into the darkness, and in there are three of the half-human, they're the sort of spider centaurs, the driders that were down there looking up with hungry eyes and sharp teeth.
Okay, time for terror is over. Let's get that excitement back again, shall we?
It was really, really nice that the tree waited for that gorgeous conversation to finish. That was serendipitous timing.
Yeah. I was waiting for someone to say something portentous as well.
Viorica is going to wake up with, "Oh, for God's sake, go away!" He's going to wake up down into the thing. No, not you. What is that stuff below us? Can you blame those He's going to get quite angry because he's woken up on the wrong side of the bed.
Well, hang on, Viorica, this is really good, because we weren't sure which way to go, whether we should go down there or not down there, and now we know that down there is an army of terrifying monsters, so let's make the choice really easy. Yeah!
Yes, that's true.
Try
I don't
it.
want to go out of here then. Okay, what do we do?
Who can fly?
Well, until I have rested longer, I can turn into a gas again, but I cannot fly.
Do you have to do that in here? Oh, I see.
Fee, this lasts for a while, right?
Yes,
At
very
the
much
magic
so.
hut. So we're not stuck. We're not stuck in midair. If we just want to escape, I can ask Sparky to turn up, and he can teleport each of us in 15-foot increments. Veracity doesn't know the word increments. In 15-foot boofs until we get to the next tree. It might take a few minutes for him to boof us and then boof us back and then boof the next person, but we can all get over safely. If we just want to escape.
You're
if
not
someone has
too
a better
far off
plan.
the ground as well. I think you were at least 10 feet up, but you're not. Again, Viorica said that wasn't trying to build it too high up in the tree either, so it's clear of the ground. So it is fallable without. If you don't want to fall into the crevasse, presumably, but you could attempt to jump out of it as well.
So there is ground underneath us,
There
not
is still
just a
ground.
gaping
Yeah,
hole. Okay.
there is a rent in the earth that has opened, and it is quite wide. You have to jump clear of it, but the fall itself is not so bad from up here, and you can try and jump clear. It may be that they didn't know how the hut worked when they tried to drag the tree you were sleeping in down.
Can they drag the hut down there? Can they get in?
As far as they're concerned, it's just a pustule hanging in space. I don't think they really know what to do with it.
We could just sit here and stare at them until they get bored and go away.
Kind of a reverse David Blaine thing.
Perhaps I should share something. I have been studying the texts that we received from... I can't remember his name.
Penterton.
Penterton.
Yeah.
That we received from Penterton. And I believe there are a few significant bits of information. And I share the 3 quotes with everyone.
Oh, right. So we are going in the right direction.
Or
Perhaps.
we're not at all, or we're only here because we thought the Web of the Lost. That sounds like a bad place. Let's not go there. And so we're here.
Does that mean we need to walk going, gosh, that temple, I don't want to end up there?
But we do want to
Perhaps.
end.
There's
We
no
should
place
try
like the Web of
walking.
the Lost. There's no place like the Web of the Lost.
And then we'll get to the temple. Just that. Or if we walk backwards?
I think
Well,
if we-
the last place we'd want to go if we hadn't got to the Watcher Temple is back to camp. So I suggest we head back home.
We definitely want to go back to camp and not the temple.
Yes,
Well-
we'd be able to have a good rest back at the camp.
It'd be the last place I'd want to go if I was trying to head to the camp, is exactly where we needed to be.
Who are you talking to?
You.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go back that way then.
But who's listening?
The goddess?
But
Ooh.
but if this person is the Watcher is relatively intelligent, then surely they will just be like, obviously they're pretending, and still
Well, yeah.
let us get to the temple.
But didn't it say something about there is a ritual or something that we have to do to get in, which no one knows anything about?
Yes, also that.
Should we
I'll
try and
find out.
Somebody might.
I hate to... it's not really the option that I would choose, but the only sentient creature... Oh no, we spoke to the trees.
We did.
The trees probably wouldn't know
they weren't?
about a ritual.
No.
They might.
We tried talking to them, and they went, "Ha ha ha ha! I'm going to eat you,
Yes, I'm not super keen on this. Is Torsten who I just
Torsten's here!
No, yeah.
Torsten!
I wasn't the only one who forgot. I was sound asleep, but the whole tree falling into the ground, into the terrifying hole in the ground, woke me up. I do not think they will be. I don't want to talk to them. If there's a ritual to get in, we can probably figure it out. That's sort of my specialty, or not quite. But reading things, making inferences about historical events, we can. I feel like that's more handleable than this.
We think that this ritual, there's probably a special place that you've got to do it, right? Or do we have to be? Could we be anywhere in the hedge maze? Which still does not look like a hedge maze. I just wanted to get that.
I would assume that we have to go to a specific location.
So maybe that place will have some clues about what it is that we would need to do for this ritual. So we definitely don't want to go there.
Can I make a perception check for our nearby surroundings to see if anybody is currently tailing us, watching us, or following us?
Absolutely. Make a perception roll.
Oh.
And a satisfying bong to it.
Yeah. It's my new mic setup. It's all reverbery. That was a 16.
16. You can't see it. I mean, the obvious things you can see, you can still see. You can't see anyone else around here. This again, the forest. It feels alive like a normal forest or jungle in the sense you feel like there's wildlife here. There's sort of teemingness of life. There are no conspicuous humanoids. There are no hidden. You can't pick up anything hidden nearby or tracking you or watching you.
The last thing I'd like to do then is try and cast locate object, and I want to try and locate within 1,000 feet for a crow beard.
A beard made of crow feathers. That is valid. You do not detect within 1,000 feet a beard made of crow feathers.
Son of a bitch.
For the benefit of any audience members who may confuse, there is a character called Darvax Crowbeard who has a crow. No, not crow for a beard. That would be very different. One crow. You sort of Darvax Crow's beard, though, I guess. Oh no, Darvax Crowbeard who has a beard made of feathers from crows. Hence the question. But no, you do not detect such a beard within. Although he now has a way of being extra stealthy. If he wants to avoid detection by divination spells, just remove the beard.
Remove the memorable thing about him.
Place it with peacock feathers. Yeah. No one will see that coming.
Darvax peacock beard.
That would be amazing. Cool. So what do you all do? As advertised, the heart will stay put for the duration of the spell, which is 8 hours. Like if you're not worried about it, if you're prepared to do a little tumble at the end by being there when it expires, you can wait and take a long rest here, or you can attempt some form of escape as you have suggested.
Okay. What can we actually see below us? It's the webs and the spider centaur things again.
Yeah, there's 3 of them, the Driders, which are in this chamber. Again, it's very similar. The more you look at it, the more you're like, I think that's the exact chamber we fell into, like that exact room. Yeah. It could be that there are lots of very similar chambers because it is kind of still a cave in the ground. But
I don't like this. I was thinking along the lines of if that's the place we definitely don't want to go. If we go in there, what happens? And the idea is, I think we just have another combat. But it's difficult to know. Briorka is going to go over to Veracity. Veracity, thank you very much. Okay.
I think she said hello.
Oh, sorry.
What did you think it was? No.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Yeah. That would be a power move. That would be great. Yeah.
Wow. Maybe one day, but no, you just said Veracity, and she said hello.
Okay, perfect. Do you think your wonderful little Sparky fellow, could you send him down there and at least burn the webs?
Yes. I think he has his own life force hit points. So, yes.
I mean, if they can't get up to us, I would still like to cause them some aggravation.
You kind of make a good point about it being the last place you want to go. If we suddenly decide we want to enter the Lost Webs, then chances are, hopefully, from what 355 has said, we won't end up there.
So maybe we should...
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to go there.
I just want to kill things.
So maybe...
Who said that? As opposed to... did he say, I just want to kill things?
No, you just want to kill things.
I thought he said, I just want to kill things.
This is a new side to talk to.
Startling, yeah.
Suddenly looking very attractive.
So maybe if we do burn out the webs and maybe see if we can set the spider boys running, then we decide we want to go in. We're less likely to instantly die.
Exactly. We've also dealt with them before, but I just don't want to... Well, they hurt.
We've dealt with one before. There's now lots of them.
Well, let's fight fire with fire, I think.
Now, if we were going to do that, is there any reason why we shouldn't take a bit more of a rest first? If we're not trying to escape and go away...
That's true.
They cannot get in here to us. If they cannot pull us down to them, as much as it's not the most restful situation, then maybe we should take advantage of it, and knowing exactly when this force that you've created, Viorica, is going to end, would perhaps give us an advantage.
Though, mechanically, George, is there any spare time between a long rest ending and the dome disappearing?
Technically, no. I'll give you the tiniest bit of wiggle room, but it is 8 hours on both ends. So
hang on, but what we've got is somebody who can count down a timer, I presume, 355.
We've all got a watch as well.
That's how you can. That's completely true. Yeah.
So technically, we don't need any wiggle room because we just wake up 5 minutes earlier, which I hope will mean that we do get the benefits of a long rest.
No, it's 8 hours.
I wouldn't be that honestly about it.
Yeah, that would be my worry. I think it's a great idea, Valka, but just I thought I could either get a night's sleep or clear out the spiders before the hut disappeared. I don't know that I can do both simultaneously.
Won't the ground heal up in the time that it takes to take a long rest? I mean, the ground pretty much started to trap us as soon as we fell in there, so the likelihood is they try to suck us in once. We're okay, the ground will heal up. And
Perhaps
plus,
the ground only healed up because we were under it.
Ooh.
One of the dryers flings a spear, which just bounces off the outside of the hut and flatters back down nearby.
And I just shout, fuck you in Elvish.
I don't think it can it hear you? I guess it can. It can't see through the dome, but it
just
can.
Just a faint, fuck you.
I wanted to see that because I like the idea of it.
I mean, Barda, you have the most experience of this sort of insanity. Do you think we should sleep and get more firepower, or do you think we should go for it now?
Oh, man. My suggestion would not even be to go down this hole. Fuck them. I'm not going straight into their face. I'm going through that hole. And she points down to the wooden trees. She's like, that's the last place they're going to expect us to come from. All right? If I'm going to kill someone, it's going to be from behind, and I'm going to shove my blade through their neck.
Awesome.
So honorable.
Won't they watch us move over there, jump down the hole, and jump at them from behind?
They won't be able to see us once the ground disperses, hopefully. Once we're past the ground hole, and hopefully the way they're following us will counteract with what I'm suggesting that Viorka said. If we actually aim to go down there, but a long way, we might find ourselves somewhere else. But I'm telling you, we've really got to want to get there. And I feel like I might be the only one that wants to do that.
No,
Why?
I'm very happy to go down there. I feel like I could definitely deal with ridding the world of a few more of those things.
Also, we don't know if the ground underneath also suffers from the same conundrum. We might get down. There was three pathways at the hole. We could hopefully get there, and the underground could be more secure than the overground. That is a theory, not a very good one.
Well, I really don't want you to be stuck alone underground fighting a lot of giant spiders, so if that counts, then I really want to go down there if you're going.
That's good enough for...
Do I have any choice?
You could stay here by yourself, Torsten, if you wanted.
Yes, I see. Well, consider my objection noted against going into the horrible spider hole. But if that's where we're going, I'll come.
I can never tell if this is a wimpy NPC or the DM going, don't.
Take it all as the NPC.
Okay.
I would be inclined to say... Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
I'd be
carry on.
inclined to Torsten. Usually, I would offer to stay behind with you, but in this case, I believe that actually this is possibly the best plan.
Yes, I think splitting up would be a bad idea anyway, but...
I don't like the plan either, Torsten. I'd really much rather do anything but that, but it does seem like the best idea. So I think we might have to be brave together.
Very well. Yes, okay, so good.
355?
I agree. I see no other way to get to the constant, and without a clear direction to the constant, a direction to something else, hopefully will lead us to on the right path.
Because we know that as soon as we were going, we really don't want to get to the web of the lost, so we know it works in that direction. So hopefully it'll work in the opposite direction too.
Precisely.
If 355 doesn't have to sleep or anything, maybe you could skip through that book for... Well, I'll take watch for a few hours. I still got the watch. I'll take watch for a few hours, and you can have another gander through the book, see if you can find anything on this ritual. Torsten should probably look at that too. And then, you can cover...
I can't go back in my vessel until I've had a long rest.
Doc has the book, Elisa, so you can ask for things, or you can have Doc either read you stuff or look for things.
Like Google.
Yeah.
Daddy died.
Are you feeling lucky?
That takes on a whole new meaning in that voice.
Yeah.
So you wanted to get some more input on... Doc can help out with the book, reading the book, telling you what's in the book, as far as Doc can. What did you want to know? You wanted more information on whether there was stuff in there about the ritual?
Yes, any mention of the ritual.
Okay. All right, I'll make a roll. Well, it's better. It is better.
Better than one, good.
Yeah, much better. Yeah, well, okay. Now that you fluked out and found that bit, I've overlooked somewhat. But there's another bit. Well, no, it seems like it's a cause of some frustration for Penderton chap. That there was no information about it. He seemed to think that if he could get in, it would be quite important. But it mostly seems like as previously advertised, the scholars were silent on the subject. But it appears to be a way in rather than a way to.
A way in,
as in when you get to the temple,
into the temple,
get in, and to do that you need to perform some, rhyme or cantrip or ritual or something. But no one seems to have written it down, which feels like an oversight, unless it was designed not to be entered, in which case it feels like good systems design.
Indeed. But I cannot find anything regarding the nature of the ritual. Just a lot of frustration that there is no information. Hopefully once we arrive at the temple, it will become obvious.
Okay.
If we go to the temple at all, who wants to go to the temple? No one here, that's for sure.
I want to go not to the temple.
Torsten, do you think you can try and concoct some kind of ritual?
Well, I know a lot of things that will be relevant. So if there's any kind of, you know how these things are. You must have been to ancient temples before. They usually have, things written on the walls. There's stuff on the floor. There's clues. I think it's the rules. They can't resist leaving information. I assuming either it's yes. Basically, I think I can. Maybe. No promises, but that is, after all, why I'm here. I'm the expert. I will know what information to bring in that matches what's there already.
Okay, well, best we better get our heads down.
Right, good, yes.
I shall keep watch while you're all this.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can all hit the long rest button.
Yeah.
Madness.
Where is it?
Confirm. Okay, cool.
Oh, spell slot.
I guess as well I should probably roll perception, just
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, you'll see. You can see what you can see. But yes,
Like I'm just keeping an eye on down below, seeing if the ground does heal up. It's only 12.
they definitely get bored. Like they stay there. They're onto a good thing. The ground doesn't heal, but they sort of fall into a similar pattern of as most parties would be to keep on watching. That one person stays upright and more attentive and ready to move. The other two are sort of loafing. I don't know how a spider loafs, but probably upside down. But there is a certain amount of spider loafing involved. Yes, Ed.
This is a technical question. Did you say that there isn't such a thing really as a sunrise here?
You haven't seen any change in the overhead lighting so far. I mean, to be fair, in here it is darker in that you are closer to... The trees are closer together, you have less light coming in from above, but it is still ostensibly a bright day.
Yeah, forever. But what I mean is, given that I have a thing which recharges at dawn, if there isn't a dawn...
It's a good point. When did you come into the Hedgemaze? You had a midnight ritual. It will not have recharged yet because that was not that.
That's all I need to know.
I'm also not going to do you out of recharges on that just for the sake of it. But yeah, I'll make a note.
Same with my ring actually. So it would be useful to know.
Cool. Yeah. I will make mention of it later and remind me if I don't. But regardless, not enough time has elapsed yet.
That's fine.
Do you think if you cast daylight over the things, making an artificial dawn?
Well, no, because then surely it would just be going from darkness into brightness as opposed to the actual dawn.
What if somebody moons signify night?
I'm going to go from casting moonbeam to daylight, but I like your version better. It costs fewer spells.
Here with Lanthorn, I represent Moon.
I once very happily played Wall for a summer.
I do like the idea that you're putting on a play to trick the magic items into recharging. That's good.
It matches the play we're putting on to trick the mysterious being listening to us that we don't want to go to the temple we obviously want to go to.
I now want to
play.
Literally have to do that to recharge it. Like, and it doesn't recharge at dawn. It recharges if you have to put on some production for it.
And it is a Midsummer Stream. Great.
No, it's Pyramus and Thisbe.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah. Right, you have finished a long rest. You'll get a narrow window after you're done resting. You don't have to be. You can of an 8-hour rest. You only need to be asleep for 6 hours. Most creatures. 355 doesn't have to be at all. But you'll have a relatively narrow window at the other side where you can do stuff, and then you have a sort of. Your plan is to dive out of here, or where are you? What is your exit of this from this hut before it goes away?
Are we discussing this when we wake up? If you see what I mean,
you got time. I say you before you finish the rest, but after you've slept, you'll have half an hour or so because you sort of front loaded some of the non-sleeping rest bit.
Yeah. Right. What are we gonna do? I still think we should send down flames into those webs.
Maybe we could use the flames as a distraction whilst we sneak off towards the big hole that we wanted to jump into.
Sparky doesn't have to be very close to me, so he could go dive bomb all of them. And while we jump into the Barda's... the phrasing, not while we jump into Barda's hole. While we jump into the hole Barda suggested.
Yes. Okay, that sounds good. Are we going to be okay getting down? Is there any trees like nearby?
Yeah, they're pretty close pressed here. So as Veracity suggested, you could leap to another one if you wish. You can just sort of jump and tuck and roll. Like if you're about 10 feet off the ground, in the rules that doesn't invoke any falling damage. So
for Viorica, 10 feet is only a third of his height. Whereas for his height and a third again. Yeah, whereas for Veracity, it's 5 times her height.
Yeah.
So
Valka could have her on her shoulders.
Yeah, or I could try and catch you.
And then tuck and roll.
I'm picking Valka. No offense, Fee, but...
No, understood.
How deep was the hole?
It was fairly deep. I mean, it was about 40 feet when you fell into it last time. It's about the same here. From ground level down is about 40 feet. And you have your choice of landing on webs or ground.
And the other hole I meant, the one in the woods.
Oh, that one. You didn't. You saw it at 60 feet.
I shone my torch down.
So that was 60 feet down. Yeah.
Okay. We should be all right. We got rope. I got rope.
We do have rope.
I've got a piggyback from Granny, so it's all going to be good.
I mean, I'm not that tall.
Yeah, but you will break the ground rather than the other way around, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to figure out how long my rope is. I don't think it's 60 feet.
I think
50 is
Ropes are 50, aren't they?
Yeah. But in which case, climbing down the rope, if someone's on the other end of the rope and you climb down, then you can just drop. It'll be fine.
Bugsy going after Viorka.
So Veracity is going to summon Sparky.
Yes.
I think technically you have to summon it in the hut because you can't. Normally you can summon it at a distance, but you can't summon it outside the hut. But then it can move. You can move.
Yeah.
Can I stick my face outside? Can I just stick my face and my hand outside and do that?
Yeah.
Just want to check how far Sparky can get away from me, but I don't think there's a
I don't
constraint.
think there's a limit. Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Amazing. Just
How
send
fast
off
does Sparky want to get away from you?
Ooh.
I assumed it was more like one of those ends of those like wild animal stories, and they're like, "Get out of here, go! I hate you.
Go make your own fire."
Bye, bye, buddy.
Cool. So Veracity's going to summon Sparky down as you can summon him 30 feet away, and then you bring the rest of the way down.
Yes.
As you do so, the Driders will respond in the sense that the ones who are sitting down will stop sitting down and be ready. And Sparky's instructions is to cause as much havoc as possible, set fire to the web.
Yeah, he has flame speed has a range of 60 feet.
Cool.
So I would like him to cast flame speed at the webs, at the creatures. If he feels like getting naughty, then he can teleport and bamf in and out to make a hard target. But if he wants to stand there going, hit me, in a flamey sort of way, then he's welcome to. I'm granting him basically as much autonomy to create chaos because he's part of me, so he should enjoy chaos.
Yes. What is his AC and hit points?
Really high.
High.
He has
15 million.
40 hit points, I believe. Hang on, what level are we?
7.
Yes, 40 hit points.
It's more than me.
It's not hard. And his AC is only 13, so it's just natural armor.
Cool. That I won't play that out just yet, but yeah, I mean, with the range, these things fight better up close, as you've seen, but they can target at a distance. One of them will engage it at first. The other's trying to keep an eye on you. Let's see how success. In fact, make a flat attack roll with Sparky just to see the rough quality we're dealing with here.
Which was my proficiency, yes. Yeah. So plus 21.
21. Okay, that is effective. It's enough of a distraction that the others have to retask themselves to focus on this, either to avoid getting hit or to avoid, or to actually take it on. I'll make some attack rolls back in a second, but I think they can. Well, we'll see what happens. But so while this is happening, chaos is sown with flame seeds. The rest of you are diving out as advertised. Veracity on Valka, and the rest just hop in.
Yeah.
Cool. What are you gonna say?
I want to be piggybacked by 355.
Let's have it is a straightforward jump. You're not going to take damage from the fall because it's 10 feet. It's not as high as 20 feet, which when falling damage starts kicking in. I'm going to ask for an athletics check from everyone jumping, so everyone with Veracity. I keep tossing in that because it's the vault. It's the vault to clear the pit below, nicely out of the way.
So acrobatics.
This is why I asked for a piggyback because my athletics is.
Oh man. So it was a 15 for me.
8 for me.
Good. 8. Barda?
16.
So Barda and Valka plus Veracity jump clear. I mean, that's not inherently surprising given the composition of these characters. Jump well clear. You get clear of the pit and you sort of do as appropriate, you do a roll or a side roll or something to slow yourself down. I think Valka can just bound down from that height and thing. I think
thighs of steel.
Yeah, exactly. Just walk it off. Viorica, 355, and Torsten all fall a bit short. None of them have fallen into the pit. It's not that disastrous. But go on.
Did I tell you what my role was?
I saw it on the screen. I blanked over it, but carry on. Do announce
it.
No. I blanked it because I saw it pop up on the game log on Beyond.
It's a 6, which is hands.
Yeah, to be clear, yes. So 6, 8, and Torsten got a 9. So I think Viorica, as the worst off, is probably hanging. You probably landed. You're not like hanging by your arms, but you're kind of half up. I mean, like Indiana Jones in the very first scene of the first movie. Just sort of like you're on there scrabbling for something to hold on to. 355, you land on the edge and are a bit unstable, but you're not hanging off. Torsten similarly is a little bit ahead of you. You do definitely, like, if the ground shakes, you get hit by something, there's a chance of you tumbling in. I'll do a quick round. What's everybody? Just tell me what you're doing, and we'll resolve it in whatever order makes sense. Valka.
I guess immediately would style out the cool landing and then reach to grab Viorica's hand as well.
Got it. Veracity?
If possible.
Yeah, the same. Will go, thanks, and then sprint over to try and help pull Torsten up if Valka's got Viorica.
Barda?
Yeah, I'll grab 355.
355.
Just be like, steady.
355. I mean, you can be grabbed. That's fine. What is your instant reaction to this?
Yeah, I'd reach out. If I see Barda reaching for me, I'll reach out to grab her hand.
Cool. And Torsten similarly is trying to stabilize himself. Viorica, what are you doing? Just trying to scrabble for purchase, or what?
Holding on for dear life. Yeah.
Cool. I think so the 355 and Torsten are much simpler in that they can just be sort of grabbed, and once they're stabilized enough to take a few steps forward, is absolutely fine. Viorica is in more tendentious, is that a word? It probably is. Position. Don't know if it's the right word, but certainly a word. Before we resolve Viorica and Valka, who's reaching for him, I'll roll a couple of attack rolls for the Driders to see how they're getting on with taking down
Sparky.
Yeah. So you'll get a couple of rounds out of it, I think, at that rate of damage. I'm not going to roll every single one because that's a lot of maths for something that. Yeah. They're definitely getting hits in. They've got these spears, these same sort of like shard spears that keep coming up. You see them coming up from the ground. One of them is going to attempt to target 355 as they are being stabilized. That is a bad roll. That is a 9. So it goes shooting over your head. So I think, was it Barna grabbing for you? Pull clear. Valka, if you could make, I think it's an athletics roll. I think we'll go with that.
Okay. Well, that's a good job. I've got a good bonus. That is a 10.
10 total. You got him stable. You're holding him up a little slower than any of you would like. I think I'll just make an attack roll.
She was trying to do it in a I'm making sure Veracity is not going to get thrown in the pit while I dive down to grab.
Veracity appreciates it.
Yeah.
Viorica, what's your armor class? I've got a 13 to hit. Is that enough?
Oh, 14. Thank you for that.
Okay, so just it goes right into the earth next to you.
Next to you.
One of these things target you, and then that's enough time for Valka to haul you clear.
Yeah.
Use it to pull yourself up.
Yeah. There's a hiss of anger from below. Veracity, Sparky is taking hits. You can relieve him to do that and keep throwing chaos, or you can pull him back if you need to, as you all pull away from the pit.
He can't. I mean, he can die. He can lose his hit points and vanish.
Yes.
But he comes back next time I cast Wildfire Spirit, right?
Yeah, it's up to you how you play. I mean, it's up to you in fiction how you play that, but it'll be the same creature as far as you want, if you want that to be the case.
Oh, I hadn't even.
Yeah, I mean, that's up to you. I don't think it specifies. Yeah.
That's a really harsh philosophical conundrum to suddenly be presented with.
Well, familiars, it's very clear. I think familiars, if you kill a familiar, like familiar is a sort of spirit from another dimension in a material plane body. If you destroy the body, their spirit goes back, but you can summon the same one unless they quit because you've killed them too many times.
It says you can summon the primal spirit bound to your soul.
Cool.
And then you can summon your wildfire spirit.
So I think that's absolutely. It's your ultimate decision from my point of view. It's your decision how you play that. So it's tethered to you in this way. So even if the physical form of this thing is destroyed, Sparky, it can reconstitute itself in the same way and not be diminished.
It might not die, but it's bound to your service forever. So,
so that's better. Deathless
soul, not service. Very different. Yes, and this way he gets to sulk at me next time, which I'm sure will be hilarious.
And also probably shower them in hot wax as he's destroyed. Okay, you I presume retreat away from the hole in the ground, the rent in the ground, leaving Sparky to feel that. None of the Driders climb out. They don't try and pursue you over land. Make of that what you will. You leave the sounds of battle behind you. And I think they will make short work over the next few rounds of Sparky, taking damage themselves in the process. But you get clear. Where are you heading? Or at the moment, are you just moving away? Or are you immediately heading to the...
I think we would have jumped out in that direction anyway, as much as possible. And
Yeah.
unless anybody else is.
Yeah. Who is leading?
Oh, that makes sense.
Who is leading the group at this point?
I think Bard would be at the front.
All right.
Yeah, makes sense. Viorica following closely behind.
I think 355 would then be maybe with Torsten.
Sure. Torsten would definitely put himself as close to the middle as possible.
Yeah.
to avoid having to choose the front or back, or being picked up at the back, or being the vanguard at the front.
Valka will once again be the caboose.
Yeah. Could Barda and anyone else can do this if they want, if they're also tracking, make a survival roll. Same as before. Like 2 of you make perception rolls, 2 of you make survival rolls. I'm happy with any which one.
And Viorica does nothing because he's useless.
You're also here.
No, I know, but he's not good at perception.
That's your role. You're also here.
Me and Veracity doing survival, and Valkyr and 355.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
I got
We rolled
23
that.
survival.
Agree.
I got a 15 perception.
15 on perception from 355.
I'm going to switch to physical dice for a little bit because this
Yeah.
dice roller is not.
I'm going to do the same.
Pretty.
That was an 8.
Dice roller's not liking me today.
Yeah, no, it's, press your luck.
22 for survival.
22 survival. Sorry, Valka, what was your perception?
8.
Oh, fine. Okay, so 15 and 23 are higher numbers. Similar to before, when you were heading this way, the trees go closer and closer together. The way you were, they were already very dense. It was already hard to move through them off this sort of pseudo path covered in webs that you were following. Previously, when you went this way, the trees got so close together they were growing through one another to form almost literal walls of wood. And when you reached the hole originally, the canopy itself had kind of fused to become a dome, like a whole enclosed room. The trees continue growing closer together to the point that you're having to squeeze through them. It gets quite claustrophobic at this point, but the webs aren't getting thicker. And roughly at the time when you think you should be reaching the hole, you're still weaving through trees. They are still very thick. It's basically almost impossible to see more than a few feet ahead at a time. But you keep pressing this way. And then suddenly, as happened with the field, you clear the forest. Like you're no longer standing in forest. You're at the foot of a hill. A small, I guess a chunky hill, but not anything so grand as a mountain. On top of which is another tree. This one clearly distinct. It's a huge tree with quite a bulbous base to the trunk, kind of like a baobab tree. Or some baobab trees anyway. Split in the middle, so it sort of forms a ring or a gateway, like an archway, with the middle of the base of the trunk. It has more of the, and you've seen these variously throughout the forest so far, more of those fleshy green pustules on it. Like the ones that are this large, you can see them pulsing roughly in time, like they're following some particular rhythm.
Oh my God.
And that's up the tree ahead of you.
Good.
You carry on. I'm just,
Genius! We made it out of the spider webs. We didn't die.
I was actually gearing myself up to jump down that pit then.
Yes, me too. What have we found here, though? Did anyone want to not be somewhere?
I wanted to not be at the temple. I don't know if I wanted it hard enough, though.
This doesn't look like the temple to me. It doesn't look like the temple. It doesn't look like a temple.
No, it doesn't look like a temple at all. It's a big tree. The temple was a big bulbous, like much bigger than this is a big tree, but the temple was a vast sort of black rocky structure with a big spire.
Can I make a perception check?
Absolutely.
Do we think if we walk through the tree, we'll get to the temple? If we walk through the tree thinking really hard how we don't want to get to the temple?
Well, the good thing is that we now know that just distance isn't the problem. So we can just keep trying things, because we're not going to get further away, or even if we do, we're just going to keep getting closer to it as we figure out how to get closer to it. So let's try it. And Viorica is going to try and walk towards the tree, but then if no one stops him by the time he gets up to it, is no one else coming?
You've got to hike up the hill, so you'll get a few steps up the hill at least.
355 would come with you, and if nobody's going to stop you.
I do have a question about the green pustules. Are they the same pustules that Viorica popped
Yes,
at the start?
these seem large. There's more of them on this. They seem clustered on this tree, and there are more of them, and some of them are larger.
We know they're not poisonous.
You know they're not poisonous. They seem to be
they were sticky and remained green,
yes.
But they didn't actually. Okay.
Niall, what was your perception roll?
22.
22. Let me make a roll or something. you catch sight of, from the angle you're at, you can't really see through the archway down here, but you catch, like, from sort of just trying to crane your neck and see it, you catch sight of a figure standing in the archway, pretty much positioned on the far side of it, just visible if you're really making an effort to see it, standing there. Yeah. They are a big old skeleton with crowbeard, like standing waiting, like not hiding, like they are standing out in the open.
Son of a bitch.
Waiting for you.
I'm going to sprint ahead to Viorka in 355.
Well, we can pick that up in a minute, because that's when we're going to take our break. Yes. Cool. Thank you all so much. Thank you everyone for watching. We're going to take a 5-10 minute break. We'll be back with you shortly to find out who this is. I mean, we know who this is, but who this is, what they want, what's going on, why, and more questions.
Pigeon Beard.
Are you actually going to give us the answers to those questions, though, George?
No. At least some of them, yes. But hopefully, but more questions as well. I think that's marvelous. Cool. You will see you back here in 5-10. Thanks, folks. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of episode 8 of Seekers of Elturel Buried. Before the break, big skeleton in a tree. Not quite. Big skeleton standing in the archway below a tree, who Barda has spotted and is now pelting uphill at speed. We'll just pick it up right from there. So now remind me what you rolled in your perception. Was it 22?
Yeah.
Cool. We'll go, yeah. We'll go with that. Cool. And what is everyone's passive? Who's got a high passive perception? Tell me that if you have it.
No.
Rusty?
I did high, 18.
18. Thank you.
15.
15. Yeah. Cool. Great. I'll just keep that in my head for my time being. What is everybody doing? Viorica had set off uphill. Like it is. Like I said, it's not a big hill as these things go, but it is definitely like you have some sort of stomping time. Yeah. Barda, having spotted something clearly, is pelting towards Viorica. What's everyone else? 355 is following Viorica, yeah.
Following Viorica anyway. I think 355's opinion now is like, where anywhere, just try and aim for anything that's not the tower. So, here's a big tree. Let's go and look at that.
Let's see what happens, yeah.
If Veracity's seen the two head up and then Barda suddenly starts sprinting up, then she will start running too, assuming there's danger, fighting, fire.
Barda, were you running ahead or were you running to catch the front of the group? Barda, no. Were you running ahead or running to catch?
So you said Veracity, I was like...
no. You said you were running up. Were you trying to catch up with Viorica being at the front, or were you just trying to get ahead and be the first one there?
I think that was her initial thought. And then as she started like getting closer to Viorica and 355, she's probably like, this looks so sus. She's gonna slow down. Oh, she's not gonna slow down. She's gonna be like, she's gonna like pass them and like slightly slower pace and just look at them both and be like, please don't start throwing fists, and then continue to like jog up.
It's like you're out for exercise, yeah.
Valka is making sure Torsten can keep up.
Yeah. He doesn't mind a hike. Like he doesn't mind a hike. It's the violence, the danger, the monsters. Like going uphill, steep hill, love it, great. He's
got fantasy walking poles, right?
Oh yeah, I mean he probably does actually. Yeah. As more of you crest the hill, as more of you come up the side of the hill, you can see Darvak's pyramid, because of course that's it. And who else? How many other large humanoid skeletons do you know with a beard of crow feathers and gems for eyes? He's not hiding. He's standing there, hands on his hips, waiting for you. It would seem, or just waiting, seeing what you do. Come on,
how far away?
It's probably between 30 and 60 feet by the time you spot him. Those of you who were sort of walking uphill normally, like it is a bit of a whoosh, but it won't take you long to get there.
Veracity will wave cheerfully. Hello.
He does a sort of like, yeah. He does it. It's not half-hearted, but it's not like enthusiastic either. It's just, yeah.
I can't picture that. That's amazing. It needs the facial expression.
It's not. Yeah, it's sort of solemn without being down though. It's a very sort of. It's the equivalent of a curt nod, but more visible from a distance. I guess that's where it's at. Viorica, are you thinking of you scheming?
Well, I'm trying to scheme, but I'm realizing that the thing that I was intended to do can't reach, and nothing else really. I think what Viorica's going to try and do is this might be a really bad idea. A vicious mockery towards the Crowbeard. It's like, we left you behind in the other realms. Sod off.
Are you actually trying to?
Yes, cast it. I'm going to try and cast a vicious mockery at him.
All right, that is a wisdom saving throw. Am I correct?
Yep.
And that's 60-foot range or 30-foot range?
60.
60 foot. Okay. Let me make it.
Niall, are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm good.
What you should have done when you ran past is to warn them not to do that. That would have been great.
Yeah.
That is a 16 on the saving throw.
The thing is 16.
If it's equal with the DC, then he passes the save, which I believe is no damage. He does a little like, I mean, he hasn't got any eyebrows. He can't raise the eyebrows.
No.
He gives the head tilt of an eyebrow raise. Like he's got very good at making it. I guess he's not hugely expressive, but he's got good at making his like the micro expressions kind of thing, dummying some of them with bigger, grosser, as it were, facial movements or body movements. He will just wait for you. I mean, are any of you? What point are you just carrying on forward, and at what point are you stopping? Like how close do you get?
I'm not going to go directly towards him. I'm going to carry on. Sorry, Viorica is going to carry straight on towards the tree, but
he's standing in essentially the tree forms an archway, and he's standing in the middle of it, just a little bit on the other side.
I'm not going to change my speed. I'm just going to keep on going, having thrown the insults.
Cool. What about everyone? Are you following suit? Are you stopping at any point? Are you powering on through?
I'll get there last because Veracity is slowest, has the shortest legs, so she will join the party, panting a little.
So both Barda, with your perception roll, and Veracity, with your passive perception, you spot like two other creatures in the area. First of all, there is the halfling, the halfling waiter. They're sort of like wedged up, like they're in the archway. They're not proper hidden. They're not like in deep camouflage, but they're kind of at a point where they're sort of hanging off a little bit on the inside of the archway, quite high up. The inside of the archway, they're sort of nestled against, like near one of those pustules, which also grow on the inside of this sort of opening in the trunk. On the other side, you can see them in kind of, not quite in profile, you can see the very edge of them leaning on the tree, like on the far side of the archway, like effectively with their back to you, but they can sort of look over their shoulder and see you if they look around the tree, is the tiefling with a big old sword leaning on the wall next to them. For the benefit of the viewers, the party have encountered all three of these creatures before in an exchange gone a bit wrong when they were getting the key in what was it called, Jubilance Night Bar in Baldur's Gate.
Barda, shoot the pustule with an arrow. Stick the halfling to the tree.
Veracity will cheerfully go, "Oh, hi, look, the whole gang's here. Where's Killer and Filler?" Just make sure she's waving exactly at where the people are, so everyone knows.
Everyone is now aware. Darvax sighs. It's a bit odd to hear a skeleton sigh, but he can talk and make sounds even though he doesn't actually breathe. And particularly when it becomes clear that Viorica isn't going to stop, he holds up a hand. He doesn't know if you're going to ignore it. I'm here to deliver a warning.
When I get to the tree, can I sidle up next to the bark and just sort of put one hand on the side, look at him, and be like, "So you come here often, do you?"
Very droll, Barda.
I thought you'd have liked it.
He knows your name.
Not while I'm working, as you know. I have a job. All of you, turn around and go home.
Why?
I mean, by all means, if you wish, stay and enjoy the sights, actually. You won't get another chance for a few 100 years, after all, but stay out of my way.
Vax, this is a little aggressive even for you.
It's honest. Don't know why you expected anything different.
Look, I get it. Okay. But I feel like there's something that we can probably do to help each other out in a professional sense.
I rather doubt it.
Well, you think you can do this by yourself?
Yes, well, with my team that I have assembled to do the job. You're all heading for the Temple of the Watcher, I assume.
Yeah.
Gauge it through. Viorica, have you stopped, or are you just going to... You can carry on past.
I'm going to try and carry on past and see what's the other side.
Cool.
It's a little bit of the power move, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can look around the other side. If you can carry on past. Like Darvax doesn't stop you. The other side is the other side of the hill. It appears to extend beyond. The forest is beyond it. That hill, the hill slopes down the other side, and you're back in what could be the woods. The structure that you would see, the black stone spire structure, is quite close by. You can see it just a little way off in the forest there. You will also start to pick out a few other features here. There's a rise, like a plateau on one side, with what looks like a sort of maybe a canyon or something before it, where the trees break. You can't quite see from this angle. Likewise, there are sloping down the hill on this side, there are some crystal sort of mounds, for want of a better word. They're sort of like they're of similar shape to the crystal key that brought you here, but they are bigger and they're stuck in the ground like spikes. There's a variety of colours, like there's greens and purples and oranges and blues, that kind of thing. And they appear to be fairly randomly arranged, but running down this side of the hill only from the tree into the forest. So that's all you can see from there. And you can see, as mentioned, the tiefling from the night bar, who seems to be just sort of chilling. Like she's sort of on alert, but does not seem particularly phased.
Bjorka is going to turn around and with his sword cane point to one of the mounds and goes, "Do you know what this is?" To the tiefling.
No.
How much is he paying you?
Enough.
Good.
It's more about the fun. She seems bored.
Right. But he's taking this whole thing very seriously in that he's assembled a team.
Yeah, he does that. Darvax turns around. Could you not? We're like mostly talking to the tieflings. Like, what are you doing? This is not what this is.
But I think everyone, I think there's a lot of negative energy here, and Darvax offered to give us some advice. Clearly, he's trying to help us, which I think is very generous. So maybe we ought to hear, what was this warning that you had to say? And then maybe we can offer you some advice in return.
Turn around and go. You're all completely out of your depth, even you, Barda.
Look, I appreciate the thought, and your replacement seems adequate. She does. She's, she missed. That was kind of the big one, unless she told the truth. But she's not very good with the old sword. Hit the table instead of my head. But, that's neither here nor there. All I'm trying to say, Darvax, is, look, we can help each other. More than these, you know how good I am at my job.
Yes, and you're still out of your depth here. This place was the contested domain of two absurdly powerful beings. They did not like having to give it up, and they, I bet, have left a fair few surprises.
This is all very strange, because Darvax, Mr. Crowbeard, you are talking as though you know Barda, but you can't possibly know Barda, because she would definitely have shared that information with us, because it seems something very, very important, and she is absolutely a team player and to be trusted. So I don't know why you're pretending to know Barda, Darvax, because Barda would never have hidden that from us, because it would be an absolute betrayal of trust when it came out. Isn't that right, Barda?
There's a quirk of a smile from Darvax.
Valka is definitely stood behind Veracity and does a
hands on her shoulders.
Yeah.
I'll leave your internal matters to you. If
okay.
there's anything else to say, we can say it now. Otherwise, we'll be on our way.
Look, what are you after?
If I'm correct, the same thing you are.
So, correct me if I'm wrong.
You first.
We'll do it on 3. 1, 2, 3. The constant.
So he doesn't say anything.
You just got schooled.
Yes. Correct.
I missed you. If that makes it any better?
This isn't the time for that.
Well, I don't think there'll ever be another time, because if we're both after the same thing and you're not willing to play ball, then that puts us at odds with each other. And, I don't want that.
You know how I operate. I play fair until I don't.
I know.
This is fair.
But, look, we could do this really fair, okay? Together, we're stronger. We could work together as a team. When we get there, at the end, we can decide who gets it, okay? Rather than fighting each other. How long have you been in this place for?
I imagine the same time as you, or close to it.
And you're finding it easy to traverse, I assume?
We waited for you.
Look, all I'm saying is together we stand a better chance of making it through this to the end. I'm going home. That's something you didn't understand. Okay? And to do that, I need to get to the end of this.
You really have no idea what's happening here, do you?
Educate me.
No. They wouldn't like that. Rest assured, though, the safest, the best thing you can do, and I say this professionally and as, well, more than that. Go home. We're going now. If we see each other again, we'll see how that goes. But you were warned. All of you. He does a whistle. The halfling drops down from up in the tree, up tucked into the archway. The tiefling grabs her sword, and there's the element of like, Darvak has just turned around and is walking away, like completely turning it back. The other two are definitely like more tactical, like keeping an eye on you as you're moving away. They just start moving down the hill, unhurried.
Down through the sort of mounds.
Yeah, they move past them and towards the where the forest begins again.
Are they following? Like, are they going down in between the mounds? The mount, because you said it's a vague kind of path. Are they sticking?
Oh no,
to
I mean
being
some of them could conceivably form pathways, but they're not all like they're a bit higgledy-piggledy.
Fine.
Yeah, you can spend more time looking at them if you want to try and discern anything like patterns, but there's nothing that you immediately notice about them, the way they're following them.
Okay.
Well,
I would like to
kind of them to show us the way forward.
Barda sits down.
The Oracle is going to do an investigation on one of the mounds.
Okay, you start doing that. Barda's sitting down, just where you are, like by the edge of the archway.
Yeah, just watching I assume the bottom of the hill and watching them walk away, I guess.
Yep. What's everyone else doing? Valka?
Is there anything, apart from the fact it's split into the shape of a fancy arch and it is covered in green pustules, is there anything particular about the tree that is worth investigating? I suppose I should...
We'll come to that in a sec. Yeah, I'm just getting set. So yeah, and Veracity and 355, what are you...
I think 355 is just gonna. I'd like to roll an insight check on Barda's relationship to Darvax.
Deal with that in a moment then. And Veracity.
That, and then also will help studiously be helping Valka look at the tree.
Right. Okay, we'll start with the tree, I guess. So Valka, and you can have help. So either you can roll an advantage, or you can each roll a nature check on this.
Okay. I was going to say, yeah, nature is better than investigation for me. But either way, it might be better if I help Veracity. Just going to throw that out there.
I'll have a look, and then while I'm looking / rolling, Valka, do you think I should do you think I should talk to the tree again? This tree, if it is a magical archway, it might be able to tell us. Also, that was an 18. That was an 18, George. I don't know why Veracity told you that.
I won't bother rolling to help then.
Yeah. The tree is interesting. Like, it's definitely it's unlike anything else you've seen here. You have not seen smaller versions of this tree. It is massive. Like, it is big. On the hill, almost made it seem smaller than it actually is. When you get close, it is this huge, reaching tree. These pustules, again, they seem to be here. They seem to be in a lot of different places. You're not sure if this is natural or not, but they seem to be bonded pretty well to the tree. Like, they seem a solid part of the tree, more so than parasites, which is what you kind of mistaken them for elsewhere. So either the characteristic of those things are different here, or they came from this tree, or something of that ilk.
Valka responds, I think as a group, we perhaps need a moment. And if we're going to be staying here, yes, the main goal was to go and find the constant, but also this is a unique opportunity and we should learn as much about this place as possible. So even if you can't find any information on how to get to the tower, it would be maybe good to talk to this tree and see what it's about.
I'll tell you everything and you can put it in your book.
That would be lovely, thank you. And Valka sketches the tree while Veracity speaks.
we'll bounce briefly to Viorica and we'll bounce back to that. Viorica, you're looking at the crystal mounts.
Yeah.
I think that I'd take Arcana or Investigation actually. Either way.
It's both the same. I've done an investigation.
I mean, we don't have to choose.
But I've got on an investigation check. I got a 19.
Cool. Okay. You can. I mean, first of all, like these, as described, they are crystal. I mean, most of them form spikes. Like there's sort of a central one in each case. There are a few cases where there seem to be smaller crystals scattered around it, almost like little mushrooms or something growing up around them. But there's discernibly these things. The spiky ones are the ones that seem to occur most consistently. There is, as I said, a sort of riot of different colours of them. You can pick out a path. I need to remind myself what colour it is. I believe this is a blue path, a path of blue crystals that kind of weave through the others and down to the forest. They appear to shed light as you move close, and if you sort of hover your hand near one, it will respond and do a sort of light wave passing close to where you hover your hand. Any other specific questions you have, or anything else you want to learn from that?
Okay. I'd like to touch one gingerly.
Yeah,
but
it responds in the same way. Like touching a lava lamp again. Like there's a response to the presence of your hand that intensifies when you meet the surface. There's a sense of it sort of glowing underneath it.
So it seems to me like this stuff is the same. These mounds are made out of the same stuff as the key. That's
a reasonable assumption.
Okay, cool. Do we still have the key? In fact, I'm going to turn around. Barda is the one. The Barda is the one that I assume I remember having it. Barda, do you still have that key?
No, it's the portal to get home.
Okay. Is this stuff the same stuff, though?
Maybe.
Because it looks as though I can see a path of these blue crystals going downwards, and that's where Darbax and those people went.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Glad we chatted. And he's going to turn back around and come back to the tree.
We'll come to the tree conversation still in a second. 355. You were trying to work out what was up. What was up? Feel free to make.
Yeah, just any insight I can get into the nature and state of Barda and Darvax's relationship.
Yeah,
I rolled a 14.
Okay, Niall, I'll leave that to you to offer as much commentary as you wish.
Well, yeah, her passive deception would be 9, so I feel like from Barda's body language is like someone who is nervous. Yeah, they're very nervous, even though she sounds confident. Things that she's saying are definitely trying to hide how she feels. I think especially when she was saying, "I miss you," that was genuine. But there's also a little bit of resentment to this person. Whilst there's clearly a connection, there's also a lot of mixed feelings in there. She was nervous to see Darvax. She was happy to see Darvax, and then she was kind of reminded of why they, there's definitely some anger towards him.
Okay.
Juicy.
I'd come over to Barda and probably sit down next to you. I get the feeling there's a lot you have not told us, and I do not wish to know anything that you do not wish to share that is of a personal nature. But anything you can tell us about Darvax could help. And if you wish to talk, I think everybody here would be supportive.
Barda's face goes like a bright color, like the blood rushes to her face. Almost like she's holding her breath too much. And then she kind of like releases it. And she doesn't turn around. She doesn't look or break eye contact from where she was looking. or where he went. A few years ago now, I got trapped in the Shadowfell. I was gone from the material plane for 3 months, but I was actually there for 6 years. The first year, or I guess even the first instance of being there is no hope to that place. There is no happiness. I just felt despair every day, fighting for my life in a place where, you know, everything out there wanted to kill you, and probably could. Then I tried to get back. You know, I did for the first year. And then after a while, I gave up completely. I managed to find a bit of work, and that's how I met Darvex. He was good at what he did, and so was I. And well, you saw him. He's very authoritarian. And he was the first piece of life in a place of darkness that I'd seen in a long time. And we became very close. And I would have happily spent the rest of my life with him. But after the 5th year, I started hearing rumors that there was a way to get away from the Shadowfell. I asked him to come with me, to help me. He didn't necessarily, it'd kind of be awkward to bring him home. I don't know how Titus would react to that. I don't know how I felt about that. But he refused. And, part of me believes, especially seeing him on the material plane, that he could have taken me back home anytime he wanted to. But he didn't. I've never asked him, and I don't think I ever will. But he is an honorable man. He's a good man. He works for somebody. I don't know. We did a few jobs for his, I wouldn't say master, but whoever tells him what to do. I don't know what it is. Could be a lich, could be a god, could be anything. But he wouldn't tell me, and we told each other everything. Well, at least I thought we did at the time. But he is hard and motivated, and he will find the constant before us. And what I'm really struggling to get to grips with is that I might have to kill him at some point. And I don't want to.
Then you won't have to. It won't come to that.
That's up to him. That's up to him.
I think during this, Valka has probably just quietly got up and sat next to Barda. And not like hugging her or anything, just sat next to her, staring in the same direction.
She probably looks at Valka as at the end, and she looks at you and she says, I told you I'm not a good person. And I've done some things, and I'm a liar. I've spent the last few years with my husband and with my son, and they don't know me at all.
People can be many things at once. I think she does reach out and take your hand again and gives it a little squeeze. You can only be who you are in the moment. And 6 years is quite something. I would be very concerned if you came away from that being exactly the same person as you were before. That must have been a lot to deal with.
I think the thing I hate about it most is that I enjoyed it.
Don't you hate yourself for enjoying adventure? There's a lot to this world, and it's thrilling to explore and find out. But you shouldn't hate yourself for wanting to do that. Although there are obviously some things that we're going to have to address moving forwards. I suppose my main question is, aside from your history, well, your history meaning that you have an insight into this person, why do we think that he needs the constant, and why do you think he would fight you for it?
I mean, we used to fight over the littlest things, but that was foreplay. No, he's doing this for whoever tells him to do whatever we did. We used to do all sorts of things, run and gun, kind of pick up things, blow up things, kill people. Though I didn't ask any questions, so I don't really have any answers. I'm really sorry. Whoever he works for is the real issue here. Like I say,
sorry. Can I retrospectively roll another insight check into Darvak said at one point they won't like that, or they wouldn't like that? Do I think that is talking about the gods? So that's only 11.
By gods, what do you mean?
The two gods that this demiplane...
The Archfey, yeah.
The Archfey
conceivably, yes, but you can't be sure. Like, it was vague. Also, by the way, Veracity, if you want to be in on this conversation, you can be. I'm assuming...
Veracity, got maybe a second into casting when this started, and she hasn't turned away from the tree. She's gone completely stiff. And
I figured it might be that, but I didn't want to, make you think that it was just happening simultaneously in such a way that you couldn't participate.
No. She's listening.
Great.
Thank you.
What do you want to do now, Barda?
Kick his ass, mainly. That's just because he's being a prick. I don't know. Want to go home?
Focus on that, I would.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Not that you go home, but that you focus on it.
Yeah. I should probably tell Titus when I get back, right?
Well, it depends if you kill him or not. If you kill him, it doesn't matter.
I think Valka whaps Viorica if he's within whapping range.
Yeah, no, that's entirely appreciated. Sorry.
I think Titus ought to know the length of time that you were actually there for. He might be more understanding of the change in your nature, if that's the case.
I don't know how to...
The question you need to ask yourself, though, when you go back is... You will always have a responsibility for Max. But are you still in love with Titus? And this is not a question I expect you to answer right here, right now, in front of whoever is in this place. But you need to ask yourself that, and you need to be honest to that.
Okay.
But in the meantime, Torsten, have we got any of those bickies?
I've got some. Dog biscuits come out.
No. None of those. Torsten, where's those macaroons?
Yeah, I have them. I brought them special. Yes. He offers one to Barda first.
Thank you. Blue.
It's the best flavour, I hear. Veracity, what's the tree say, love?
It'll probably lie. I'll ask. And I cast Speak with Plants.
Cool. Do you? What is your? Well, yeah.
Could I actually? Sorry, before I do this thing, Niall, Veracity will probably be quite pissed with Barda for a while. Are you okay with that?
Oh, yeah, Barda might not be after a while. She'll take the first jab, but if she comes back after a while, it's not me, it's Barda.
Just checking. Like, some people really hate playing that,
yeah.
but cool, just checking. In that case, after that, Speak with Plants happens. And I reach out. I think I will stand in between the arch. If I stretch out with my little gnome arms, can I reach either side?
It's quite big. Like, as the archways go, it's quite big. You can reach towards them, but you wouldn't be able to bridge the gap by yourself.
Then I will pick a side.
Okay.
And say hello to the side. Hello! It's me, Veracity. Oh, you sound different.
You?
I'm a gnome. Hello, I'm Veracity.
Why are you here?
I don't really want to be, really, and it's all a bit rubbish, to be honest, but we're looking for something.
What is your passive perception again?
18.
18. Anyone got higher than 18 or equal to 18? What's yours?
No.
20.
The two of you hear a rustling from high up in the tree, like quite a big rustling to be audible from this distance, like a bird in a branch or something like that. But again, got to be a big bird in this case. What did you say? I can't remember the last thing you said was.
I said we're looking for something.
What do you seek?
It's called the Constant.
Yes. We know this. Why do you speak to me about the constant?
Because, to be honest, I didn't really want to talk to anyone else right now, and you look friendly. Are you friendly?
What does it mean to be friendly?
Kind, nice, truthful, not wanting to make me sad.
We are some of these things. We are not friendly.
Okay. Would you mind telling us how we could find the constant?
You are at the gateway tree.
That's really exciting. Do you know what we'd have to do to get through the gateway?
I am the gateway.
That's
Me.
That's really impressive. Thank you very much. You're doing a really wonderful job. If I just look through you, I can just see the other side of the hill. How do we get into the temple?
Why should I tell you?
Because I'm really sad, and I'm really nice, and I want to go home, and I can't go home until we've found the constant. And you don't need to care at all, but I don't have any better reasons.
Make a persuasion roll.
Oh, please roll high on this. That was awesome.
18.
Yes.
Take some of the green with you.
The lovely balls of pulsing green.
Yes.
You've already given me so much information, you don't need to tell me anymore, but like one each? Do we carry them? Do we burst
Take
them
it
open?
and spread it, and I will tell you.
We will. You are ever so... What, do you have a name?
The gateway tree.
Of course. Is there anything I can do as a thank you? Do you want some water or some flowers?
Take the green.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mix Gateway Tree. It was very nice to meet you. I've been Veracity.
Oh.
This is Saturday Night Live. I've been Veracity.
I mean, you can keep talking to her if you want. That's perfectly fine.
Was it getting intense or was it getting scary?
A little of both, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
It's more an intense thing than a scary thing, but it's definitely yeah.
the other people that were here standing in you, did they talk to you?
No.
Okay, they're really not very nice people. If they do talk to you, will you tell them what you told me?
I have not told you anything yet. I have told you to take the green.
Okay, do we all need to do it at once, or should just I go and get a big, it's probably about as big as Rusty's head, and poke at him?
Make a dex. You are trying to like burst it up, yeah.
Yep.
Are you collecting it? Are you doing this on yourself or what?
He said to take it. Actually, no, he didn't say. Sorry, they didn't say to cover yourself in it, did they? Veracity just decided to hear that.
Yeah,
in that case, no. No, in that case, Veracity will go for it, and then realize that she might get goop hardening on her face, and therefore actually try very carefully to lift it.
Okay, make it probably just a dexterity check, I think, for this.
Checkers, dice, dex. I have dex. I have some dex. 19. I have dex.
19. Oh yeah, you can carefully collect. I don't know if you have any containers or something. You probably do have something you can put it in, or you can cup it in a hand, or collect a leaf or something that you can capture some of this liquid in.
I have my poison vials. Let's assume I took some empty
probably
ones.
have some spares. Yeah. Spread the green. You must
on you or on me?
Woods in the forest.
Sorry, we must do what in the forest?
Spread the green.
In the forest?
Yes.
Okay.
What you seek lies blue woods.
Spread the green, follow the blue. Anything else that we should really definitely know that I just haven't asked the right question about?
No.
Okay. Spread the green, follow the blue. Does it matter where we spread the green, on the trees or the ground? Everywhere. Okay. It was very nice to meet you. Thank you very much. Have a very nice eternity.
Doesn't reply. Cool. So, what's the next move? Are you heading blue woods?
Yeah, Veracity will turn into the forest and start spreading green everywhere.
Wait, do we not react to Veracity like transforming into a massive forest?
Hey! Wordplay.
Cool. So, I mean, you've got to descend the hill to reach the forest. So that means heading down the slope.
Does Veracity actually tell anyone this information? You just grab it and start going, Okay, good.
Sorry, it's not you she's mad at, but you're going to get it.
Yeah, fair. As soon as she starts doing that, I think, I don't know about anyone else, but Valka will be immediately like, Veracity, anything to tell us? Okay.
I feel like we should follow her.
I think where's she going? Like, if Viorica seeing what is she just spreading stuff as she's going?
Walking down the hill, and then when we get to the forest, starting spreading, I believe, unless I've misunderstood the gatekeeper tree.
No, that's cool. It's the thing of that Viorica, I hope, sees that you're going blue woods, as in that matches up with the stuff that he's...
Yeah, you already identified the blue path, and you can see that, yeah.
That's what I mean. So it's like, she's got it. We need to help her with this, and then follow on afterwards. Like, following on behind, you know that thing when someone's doing something and you're sort of going, I don't, okay. Just trying to prepare for whatever may happen.
Cool. You head on down. You can start spreading this stuff. It doesn't have any like obvious effect, but you can like put it on the branches of the trunks of trees, other plants and stuff. You don't know if you're doing the right thing or if you're doing the proper thing or whatever, but yeah.
I have calligrapher's supplies, which I assume because I have to spend laborious hours copying things out. And she's too sad to be gleeful, but with a return of her old sparkle, will take her beautiful, fine calligrapher's brush, very expensive, very finely pointed, dip it in the goo, and start spreading it on the tree.
Are you making particular shapes or glyphs or words or anything, or just spreading it as...
I hate Barnett. No. I think she starts just painting, and then maybe as she calms down a little, it'll start being swirls and stars and flowers and things.
Does she allow the rest of us access to the goo?
There's a long tree.
Yeah.
I only have one little test tube, so I'm not sure there's actually enough to share, but...
If you want to have collected some at the time as well, you can do so. Having seen Veracity doing it, because there's a lot more in the one you'll have had to puncture to get this than will have fit in the vial. So it will be going spare. They're literally giving it away.
Right.
Well, I was going to say, if oh no, this is a really bad idea. But if Viorica realizes that's because so Veracity is doing, as it were, a sort of small patch, but painting everywhere, but hasn't said anything about what she's doing yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
pretty much.
Okay, so in which case Viorica is going to go, I see, run back up the hill, try and pull an entire pustule off, and then come down and throw it at one of the trees.
Make a dexterity check again. Yeah, this is
Force bombs.
That makes sense. Yep. Oh, nuts. Okay, that's a 6.
6. You're trying to haul this thing off wholesale. You get the impression that such a thing is possible. Like they are adhered to the tree trunk quite firmly, but you get the sense you can sort of peel them away. But the pressure you exert in the process bursts the thing over you. You've collected as much as you want. You're covered in this goo now.
Green. Okay.
Valka cackles.
Yes. This is never going to come out. Yes, so Viorica, now covered in this stuff, is going to run down to near where Veracity is, not intending to get any on her, but basically is going to go down and just go and sort of shake like a dog.
Viorica, sorry, your passive perception is rubbish, right? It's not. It's not amazing. Not great.
Yeah.
Is anyone keeping an eye on Viorica while he goes up and does this?
Oh yeah. Watching with great entertainment
from the tree line as you're down there. When this stuff bursts all over Viorica and he comes out of the tree, there's something from up high in the tree, something massive, or very sizable certainly, seems to fall, tumble. It kind of looks like a giant bird. It has a sort of acrobatic dive, twirl, and lands in the branches still lower down and looks over, watching hungrily as he skips back down the hill. It looks like immense is overselling. It looks like a green dragon of some size. It is watching. Those of you with the better perception from this range notice that it appears to have no eyes at all. It's just smooth sections of its scales there. It is not. Well, it's watching Viorica somewhat hungrily, but is not proceeding to do anything else at this point.
Question, just so I can picture exactly where it is. The bird came out of the archway tree? Or
it was on the archway tree. It was near the top of the branches, which is quite high up. It did a sort of acrobatic tumble dive down to reach a lower height closer to the archway itself, but is still above the archway.
Does it look like a chatelaine by any chance?
It could be. You don't know what that is intended to mean in this context, but it is a creature.
Yeah.
It's something of that form.
Wait, is a chatelaine a creature or
a chatelaine isn't a creature? A chatelaine is like a sort of castellan, guardian, regent, custodian type thing.
Technically, the mistress of a household, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's Viorica seems oblivious to this, like moving back down the hill, being watched by this thing. But again, it's
Viorica
not pursuing you.
Yeah, Viorica can barely see because he's got the gunk all over himself. So yeah, yes, it's kind of God. Is it doing anything? Can anyone help me?
Viorica should be quiet. Oh my god.
Oh, okay. Well, I wanted to ask about like everyone's movements because in my head, when Veracity started tromping down the hill, Valka immediately was like, "Veracity, what? Following."
I've assumed you all were all going down the hill.
Yeah, right. Okay, we all left top of the hill.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong. But in my head, everyone was making forward progress. Viorica was like, "Oh, I see," and has
ran back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely felt like we were all watching Viorica run down with a dragon behind him.
Viorica, love, get back in the tree line. Follow the sound of my voice. Come here.
Okay. And he may stumble, he may fall because he can't really see. He's just going to do what he's told.
Veracity, why have you started spreading this green substance around us?
It's the ritual. The tree with the gate in is unsurprisingly a gateway tree, and if we paint. They said that if we spread the green, then we follow the blue path, we get through the gate. They were very nice.
Brilliant. Wonderful. Do we think that is part of the ritual too, or is that something to avoid?
Possibly something to avoid. I asked if there was anything else important we needed to know, and they didn't mention a sightless dragon. So I'm assuming that's not a bad, maybe a not thing.
Do you think this is the Watcher?
I did wonder, yeah.
Interesting. I had taken the pustules to be some kind of parasite or other thing, but maybe it's part of the rhythm of this place.
I really wish I'd learned more Draconic.
Yes, it's a tricky language to grasp, and perhaps not the best one to use right now. Very, loud.
Veracity will, now she's actually had a conversation, pass out, assuming she collected a few vials of the pouring pus. Pus is gross, something nicer than pus. Sap, that's what it is, sap.
Sap is too nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Slime, how about that?
gund, slime.
Like 90s kids TV game show gun.
Yeah.
Nice. She will pass out the vials she has to people. They didn't say how much to spread, we just have to spread it and then follow the blue path.
Right.
I feel like
should we
Bjorka's
try?
got us covered.
No, yes. It's covered in so many ways.
Maybe we should try hugging a tree, Viorica.
All right, I'll try anything once and then go and hug the tree.
It makes an unpleasant splashing sound, but yeah. How long does speak with plants last, Veracity?
I want to say 10 minutes.
It's probably, most of like this need to be 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah.
Okay. Do you still have it up? There's no reason why.
Yeah, I do. I didn't drop it. Theoretically, in case I needed to sprint back up and ask the tree something I'd forgotten.
The tree that Viorica hugs. No.
Oh, Viorica, I think this tree doesn't like it. Maybe go find another tree. It's nothing personal. They just seemed a bit grumpy.
The more you spread it, the more trees you hear being like, yeah, no, not that. Don't put the stuff on me.
Oh, sorry, we have to. Is it gonna hurt you?
Yes.
How much?
It's a unpleasant addition, draining resources.
Oh. Will it go away after a bit?
I have not seen it go away.
If we come back this way, I'll scrape it off, I promise.
No. Trees will express, for the remainder of the spell, the trees will express general discontent at the idea of having this stuff applied to them.
I feel bad about that. That's interesting.
You can't be one, yeah.
Does that cause the same effect?
The grass is less unhappy, but still unhappy. It doesn't seem to be as vocal. The grass doesn't seem to be as vocal as the trees in this regard, but also you have not observed this growing on any of the grass here.
Cool.
But otherwise, you're doing this, making progress, and following the blue path as far as you can find it. Same drill as always. Let's do. We can do 2 survival rolls and 2 perception rolls again. You've got the path to follow as long as you can keep track of it. But it's less like they're not like every meter or something. They are more diffuse than that as you get into the forest. So it's still a case of trying to follow a trail of crystal shards.
Yeah.
19.
19.
24.
24. Nice. You've been so consistently good at those. It's amazing.
I haven't rolled below a 15 on the dice, I think, for a survival check.
Other people for perception, please.
23.
23.
4.
4. Yeah, cool.
It's nice to tag team these things, G.
Yeah. Lift each other up. The part with the 24, the path is super easy to follow. Like it is a path, like it is discernible. You do at various points. There's sort of like a few false turns, essentially, where it's a slightly different color that from a distance you mistake for blue, and if you hadn't inspected it more carefully, you wouldn't have seen the difference. There are definitely you get the sense that there are other paths that maybe exist following other colors, or maybe you're just seeing the odd one emerging from time to time because you haven't pursued those. Those of you keeping a watch out, you feel more presence around you than you have in the previous place. Before you cross through the tree, there's definitely a sense of like the forest is alive here, but there's more of a sense of not necessarily malice for that you feel very pressed in, and the fact that you are perhaps being observed. With your perception rolls, you don't think you can't spot any creature doing so. Like it's not like there's someone hiding in the bush with a 23. They have to be very well hidden to do so, and consistently following you at the same time, which seems improbable. There's definitely that sense of being observed. After a couple more hours following the trail, you break out of the forest again, and you were in a field before. This is a very different kind of field. Is anyone particularly good at history?
I am.
What's your modifier?
+7.
Oh yeah. You can identify pretty clearly. Part of this field is, for want of a better word, natural. There is definitely some kind of natural clearing here. But from the tree stumps and the sort of there's been an intentional paring back of the forest, widening it into what you would identify as probably a more serviceable battlefield, like intentionally widened this way. What definitely backs that up as a theory is that there are hundreds or thousands of bodies in this field. They are. So you come in again, sort of at the top of a rise, looking down, and it's a proper two hills facing each other with a big expanse in between. From the middle area predominantly, but a few up the slopes as well, there are corpses. Even from this distance, you can see that some look very well preserved, and others are rot, like skeletons or in various states of severe decay. The smell here, there is a smell of sweat, of the ozone of powerful magic effects. It's like a battle just happened, but as far as you can tell, nothing is living in this field.
I have a question about the order in which we're walking through and who hits the edge of the forest first, but I would like to just add for float, if it was hours that we were going through the forest,
do it.
I think if it felt like we were immediately under threat of a dragon thing, then Valka would have just been serious swiping. But after a while, even with the threats, I think just to kind of help clear the air a bit, she probably would have been painting with the green and booped a bit on Veracity on her cheek. Just to see how that went down.
It will smile at you.
And then in terms of the order that we arrive, was Veracity storming ahead at the front?
I assume so, partly because of the survival roll.
Most likely we do. So yeah.
Fine, okay.
But not after. If it's been 2 hours, she has stormed out. She's just ahead and looking a bit dejected.
Okay. I guess my question was, did Valka see the field of corpses before Veracity did?
No!
I suppose the answer is no.
That's about to happen. It's going to be really fun.
Great.
Cool. What happened?
Veracity comes to a dead stop. And then just turns around and starts walking back again. Up the path.
Okay. Stop in front of you and...
I'm going home. I've had enough. I'm going home.
Okay. Good sentiment. Totally agree with you. Are we sure that way is the way home?
No! But it's not that way, and I'm not going that way. No one said anything about that.
No, they did not. I agree. Maybe we should just take a moment here. You don't have to look at it. Let's just take a moment.
Keep
while
a cage.
Someone analyzes what the situation is, whether we actually need to go through that way.
Keep a Cade said adventure and fire and forests and excitement and glory and money, and didn't say anything about poison temples full of peat zombies and plants trying to eat you and giant skeletons who are super evil, and then it turns out to be the person that you've really looked up to and that you really thought you could trust is friends with the giant evil skeleton person. They didn't say anything about massive fields of bodies. I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. I hate it. I'm going to go home. I'm going to go back to the Athenaeum. I'm going to dust shelves the rest of my life.
He wasn't my friend.
You have every right to have secrets and to have cheated on your husband if that's what you needed to do to get through those 6 years, and you have every right to not tell us about really painful, horrible things. But you don't get to act as the leader of all of us and storm into really dangerous, scary situations going, trust me, I'm Barda, you can trust me, I know what I'm doing, and I've kept that promise.
And who are you?
I'm someone who trusted you and you lied to me.
I told you I am not the person you thought I was.
Then you shouldn't have said that we could trust you. You shouldn't have just walked us into danger.
You knew. Bjorka, please.
No. It was going to be something fatuous. I apologize.
Look, I feel like I was pretty honest with you in regards to how we were going to approach this. I told you it wouldn't all be fun, but it could be. All right? We've had fun. We've had a laugh. We've smiled. We've joked. And you know what? You found out more about me than I wanted you to. And if you don't like that, then imagine how I feel. You got the first one for free. Now, you said your piece, and that's fine. But now you gotta learn that you gotta get on with people you don't like. And you might not like me, and that's fine.
That's really funny, Barda, because none of that sounds like I'm really sorry, Veracity, for not telling you stuff that really mattered and breaking your trust. I'll never do it again. Please forgive me. Which is pretty much what I thought you'd need to say. And actually turning around and yelling at me for trusting you is the worst thing you've done yet. I get that you have secrets. I get that you don't want to talk about really painful stuff. I get that not everyone wants to just tell perfect strangers their life story. That's fine. But you were found out, and now you say sorry. That's how it works. We trusted you and we followed you here. Now you say sorry.
I'm sorry that I hurt you, Veracity. And I'm not going to be able to protect you all the time.
I don't need you to protect me. I don't need anyone to protect me but me. I never asked you to protect me. You started protecting me, and you made me feel that you could. I didn't ask you to protect me. You just did that. I have more power in me than most people will ever see in their lives. It's not my fault that I also happen to be 2 foot tall and a child. I don't need you to look after me. I need you, if you set yourself up as someone to be trusted, to not turn out to have just had a whole secret thing with the people that are our enemies the whole time.
The world's not black and white. I never asked you to believe in me. I never said, Veracity, I am someone that should lead you into place. I took that role because I move forward with things. I do the best with what I can do. I told you, don't be like me. I told you, be like you. Because you are more powerful than anyone I've ever met. You are more skilled than anyone I've ever met. How I think you can out-track me. That's not my point. My point is we have to move forward. We have to get along, even if we don't want to. And this, hey, if you don't want to be friends with me after that, that's fine. But I'll never stop being your friend.
You never
We just need to
started.
get... Well, like I said, not everything's black and white.
I am absolutely fine that you are much more grown up and understand much more about life than I do, and you will say these truisms that I'm just too little and naive to understand, and that's fine. And yep, we need to work together to get out of here alive. I just want you to know that I don't trust you. You have hurt me, and then you've just doubled down on that, and it sucks. But what would I know? And I'm really sorry that you got stuck there for so long and you felt so hopeless, and that I'm really sorry you felt you couldn't tell us. That is horrible. And yeah, I'm sorry for looking up to you. I won't do it again.
Okay, well, let's move forward then. Are you going to be able to go through this battlefield or not?
Yep.
Cool. All right, after you.
At the risk of sounding patronizing, if you would rather sit on my shoulders and wear a blindfold, you are more than welcome to.
You are the nicest person, and I really appreciate that, but I've been told very clearly I need to grow up, so let's get going. That's Veracity, not Rebecca. We're all good.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think if Veracity was willing in that moment, Valka would possibly lift her up onto her shoulders anyway and whisper, "Grow old, but never grow up."
Oh, I really want Veracity to be up for it, but I think if she feels her hand, she'll just move away. I think if you tried again in 10 minutes, but right in that moment...
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry, I really want that to happen, but she wouldn't let it.
This is really good role playing.
Thanks, I have feelings, it's horrible.
You turn back to the battlefield. Torsten is standing there. He looks appalled by this as well. Like there's a look of like shock. Like he's just sort of standing there stunned, and he's been hearing you, but not engaging for obvious reasons, but also just like thinking about his own thing. And as you sort of turn back and go, this is the last battlefield. It was in the writings. It was the last standoff between the two Archfey, and I didn't think it would be so literal like this. This is horrifying.
So all of these they're all the Fey creatures. But they've been here for so long.
Yes, and some are untouched, it seems. And our path takes us through here.
We should get going then. Time is very important.
Yes, of course. Let's make it quick.
I wonder, Torsten, I'm not very good with these sorts of matters, but do we think there's anything on... what do we think the difference is between those that have remained as they were and those that have decomposed?
Well, it validates the theory, doesn't it? The two Archfey, Drusilda, the conservator, is associated with preservation. Yes, I don't know how else to put it. Conservation, as fits, and rack and ruin is associated with decay, and if not death, then well, decay. Of course, that is what it is. Entropy. So perhaps one side served one and one the other, or perhaps one side was struck down by one and all the other. So, yes.
Note to self: stay on Drusilda's good side.
Yes.
Rack and ruin is so subtly named. I wish they could be a bit clearer about what they stood for.
Well, it's not getting any less. Anyway, you can start crossing the battlefield. Are you just trying to get through it? You absolutely can.
If it's okay, Veracity will craft the salt spray again. I think just to under everyone's noses.
It doesn't even smell of decay, but it does smell of the battle. That is the thing that's everywhere.
Yeah, it's just to get that oppressive feeling out, just that nice little sense of sea breezes.
Nice.
She'll do it for 355, even though I don't think 355 smells things, because it would feel really mean not to. And she does it for Barda.
I think they can smell.
Oh, right.
I'm not sure they have like a disgust response because they don't eat, but they can smell things.
Great, then she definitely does. And yeah, Barda too. She's not going to leave Barda out. That would be really mean.
Yeah, you cross the field. As you, it's clear that even if you're not paying particular attention, a lot of these are sort of the more recognizable humanoid, like some of them are elf-like or eladrin-like. They're the more sort of like you side of Fae. But there's also like more outlandish creatures like trolls and ogres. What else have we got? Some sprites. Even at one point, you spot what looked like a dead coven of hags who were fighting for one thing or the other. Like this whatever happened here once was serious business, but you can cross without issue and get to the other side where your path carries on.
About 15 minutes in, Valka will have just felt a very small hand in hers.
Oh. She'll just look down and smile and give you a little squeeze.
At that point, Veracity will look up and go, Barda wasn't meaning to be mean, was she? She was just really sad. I'm going to try a thing. If I come back, if I come back in tears in like a minute, can I have a hug?
You can have a hug regardless.
Okay, and Veracity will head over to where Barda is, and again, you'll just feel, if you're willing, a very small hand in yours. Yeah. Cool.
I feel like she pretends to not notice you come up.
Veracity will just go, friends?
You'll always be my friend.
You were mine too. I was just cross. I didn't mean it.
I know.
I'm sorry.
You're a very great woman, and you're going to continue to be so.
I think you are too. You can tell me that you're not if you like, and I'll believe you, but I think you're great.
Yeah, well, like I said, just keep being you.
Yeah, I'm awesome. And just so you know, I don't have a weird hero worship idolizing thing. Like, the you I've met is not on a pedestal. I just happen to also think you're amazing.
Thank you.
I'm really sorry, I hadn't actually heard of you before I met you, so it's not like I had a weird picture. I just think you're great.
It's okay. It's all right. I'm used to it, but also you're probably one of the nicest people I've met.
Oh, I am lovely. Can I say one thing with that in mind, then I promise to never talk about it again unless you bring it up?
Okay, well, I feel like you know me better than my child and husband right now, so yeah.
Well, I know I don't know very much, and I know I'm an idiot, and I know I just shouted at you, but if I was Titus, I'd want to know.
Yeah, if I was Titus, I'd probably want to know. I think.
And then Veracity will carry on holding your hand and go and then ask you, do you remember the very early survival checks that we co-made together? We would point out how the other one would do things. Veracity will very deliberately be like, if you were going to set a trap behind that rock, how would you do it? Kind of thing.
Well, actually, I think there was already one set up there. If you look carefully at the rock formation where the bodies have fallen.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Mostly.
Question mark?
Yeah.
The way the hag's head is decapitated, really.
Veracity tried so hard to be grown up. Yes, I see. That is very informative. Thank you.
Barda just feels a soft thud as a biscuit hits the back of it.
Veracity picks it up because she missed the biscuits earlier because she was sulking.
Oh no, but it's a battlefield floor biscuit though. Don't put there's no 5-second rule there, no.
Yeah, yes, it's.
Viorica, whilst kind of watching this happen, is also, because his brain's whirring, I don't know what check I would try and be able to perform, but he would like to be able to try and keep a track of the paths, roughly, as in if they intersect stuff. If he sees that a red one keeps being in a certain area and the green one, do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
To try and keep track of it.
Just while you're moving back through the woods. Okay, it'll probably be an investigation roll, but I'll hold that for the time being. So, you can cross the field without incident and get to the other side. In the field itself, only the blue path seems to pass this way. None of the others intrude here. And then you are back in the jungle forest, moving through trees. It definitely is a feel that the terrain has changed slightly here. You get that there's more everywhere you've been so far, except when you've hit fields and clearings and other things, has been very flat. There's been this sort of sense of like I said, a lot of dislocation. Here you start to get more texture to the land. The plants have changed slightly. There aren't really any of the green pustules are here. There's more variation in the level of the land as well. So you find yourself walking uphill. You can make that investigation check now, actually, yeah.
Cool. And the other thing is, 9 in total.
Okay. You're trying to keep track of everything. I'll make that, actually.
That's what it's an attempt. The thing is, I'm not expecting success. Sorry, Viorica isn't expecting success. It's just the thing of trying to...
You're trying to start to know those things. There's definitely a variety. With a 9, there's a lot of different types that you're crossing. And again, some of them seem quite subtly different. Whether that's an intentional thing to mislead or whether these are somehow natural things that are forming that have really slightly different colorations and whatnot. There's definitely a few big ones. Like you see green a lot, for example. Resolutely following the blue.
Sorry, yes, the other thing would be Viorica also wants to turn around to 355. 355, I don't suppose you could get up above the tree line and see where we are again, could you?
I can have a look. Just a moment. And I will fly up above.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And if you would be so good as to make me a perception roll. There's something very obvious that I'll tell you about regardless, because you don't need a perception roll.
I'm not going to use...
There's a green dragon.
Green
Eat Viorica.
This one has eyes.
Sneaking behind you.
6.
The cutest image.
6. You don't pick up anything like particularly detailed, but you see again, you can still see the temple from here, the black structure. You can see the tree as well. Like looking back, you can see that, which is interesting because before, the last time you were up above the tree line, you could only see the black structure and wherever you were. Whereas now you can see the tree. You can see the black spire structure up ahead, very close, like within about 20-minute walk of where you are. The near side, it's part of the plateau that you saw earlier from the tree, and beyond that is a canyon of some kind. There's what looks like a ship, like a big boat, snapped in two, like it's a wreck, with some kind of. You can see. I mean, with the 6, you probably can't pick out these details to be fair, but there's definitely something up ahead. A big old boat just crashed on top of a plateau in what looks like the middle of the forest. You recognize that the slope you're walking up now seems to terminate up here, and the trees get thinner as you go up there.
Okay. I land and tell everyone this area is not like before. I can see the gateway tree behind us and the canyon we could see from the hill. Also, there seems to be a ship.
A ship?
Yes.
What kind of ship?
Like a sailing ship, much like the one we went to Baldur's Gate on. Possibly bigger, however.
Here? Where?
Any water?
Just up ahead.
Huh.
It could have been brought here magically, or perhaps there was water here at one point.
Are there people on it?
I couldn't tell from the distance.
Oh, that reminds me, I forgot to tell you because I was too busy being cross before. But the nice tree said that because I know Dalvax walked ahead of us down this path. But the tree said that they hadn't done the goop. They hadn't asked. They didn't know. So I think we're ahead of them.
We can hope.
Okay.
He's very, very resourceful.
Yes, I don't like him. If that's okay.
He's not a bad guy. He's actually very nice.
Even though you think possibly he kept you on a plane for 5 extra years when he could have sent you home.
Well, I think, when you love people, you do stupid stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, okay. I still don't like them. I hope that's okay.
That's totally fine. He's got a
shit.
great beard, though. We can all agree that.
It'd be better if it was peacock feathers.
I'm sorry, Barda. This feels like an inappropriate question, but I have to ask, has he always been a giant skeleton?
I feel like you'll judge me for this answer, but yes.
The heart wants what the heart wants.
No, that's very true. I just have follow-up questions.
It's a truism.
You implied, and again, this may be a question too far, and fair enough, we may not be at that point in our friendship where you can answer this, but you
Rusty wanders off and goes, la 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 la.
You implied that there was a level of a physical relationship, which I am just curious about. The logistics with the skeleton.
He's very good with his hands.
Great.
Amazing.
Good for you.
I really didn't think this would be the kind of thing we'd be talking about.
No, me neither, and I feel like this wasn't the moment, but I didn't want to let it go by.
It's okay. I mean, if you ever want to talk about this kind of thing, I'm cool with that.
You know what, I will see where my curiosity leads me at another point, I think.
With that, you crest the hill. You break the tree line once again, and as 355 described, there is a ship here. It's like it hit the ground here and split in two, or something split it into. The prow and what's the back of the ship called? Is it the bow? I think that's maybe saying the prow. The bow and the prow have been split. There are sections. There are sections in the middle where wood has been cleared away. In the middle is what looks like a makeshift camp. Like there's a tripod set up with a fire. There's a little chair, a little cot. I guess a hammock rather than a cot. And it's definitely like there is stuff here made from the wood of the ship, which is this strange dark wood that off the top of your head isn't particularly familiar to you. The more perceptive you will notice what 355 couldn't from the air, which is that this ship doesn't have a mast. It has what look like quite rotted by this point cables coming off it, and I think the cables attached around the edge. That's probably all that's left, the remains of them. In the middle of the camp, looking over at you as you come up here, they're drinking from a bowl, which they drop when they see you, is a Warforged, similar in design to 355. Looks primitive. Looks at you, as I said, drops
reaction.
the bowl. Bloody hell! And that's where we're going to leave it for today.
Oh my God's sake! What?
Yes.
So glad we got there.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, my reaction is not coming from a place of any sort of foreknowledge.
Oh, okay.
This is mental.
George is just blown my mind right now.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. I'm glad we got there.
Okay.
Cool. Well, this
354, isn't it?
this has been episode 8.
I think it's going to be like 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Tune in next week and find out. Yes, this has been episode 8 of Seekers of Elturel. Barry, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much to the players for an amazing session with some exceptionally good roleplay and some cool backstory reveals and, villain antagonist / just a regular guy reveals. All these things and more. And if you want to know what the heck happens in this scene, join us next week. We are here 6 to 9 p.m. UK time on twitch.tv/rolltogetherrpg and twitch.tv/D&D. That is 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you're on the west coast of the US or anywhere else on that time zone. We also have other shows that run on Tuesdays, 7 to 10 p.m. UK time, which is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific time. At the moment, we're doing a series of one-shots, so you can tune in tomorrow night if you're watching this live on Twitch. It'll be tomorrow night. To see that, because they're all a lot of good fun. If otherwise, you can catch this show again if you missed some of it and want to go back and watch it, or if you want to catch up on the previous shows, find out who these people are and what's going on. You can find all of our previous shows on YouTube, youtube.com/rolltogetherrpg. Find us on other channels if you want to follow us on Twitter to get notifications of when we're going live. Follow us on Twitch if you want those notifications. Just pick your preferred channels. You will probably find us at Roll-Together-RPG. Yes, once again, thanks to our sponsors, Hero Forge, for all the lovely minis. We didn't get an initial tracker this week, but I will do one more flash of Valka. And to Ultra Pro, all the lovely physical things. You might just still have time to participate in the giveaway this week in chat. Thank you also to our supporters, Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, Warriors of Waterdeep. You can use both codes, all the codes, both of those at the bottom of the screen still. Level Up Dice and D&D Beyond, of course. Thank you to all of those. And thank you again to the players. Yeah, really, really good session. I hope all of you in chat enjoyed it and that we didn't traumatize anyone too much with all of the emotions we got everywhere. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.